My beard is on straight. Okay. Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis. This is Comic Book Roundtable. And we got a big table again. I always love it when we got lots of people on. So I better introduce people because it's not just the usual guys tonight. Also with us tonight we have Brandon Matt Hammer. How's it going, sir?
Hello, I'm doing pretty good.
I'm taking a weather report. Is it snowing there yet?
Not yet. It's freezing rain a little.
Oh, nice.
It's supposed to maybe snow tonight, but it hasn't snowed yet.
Okay, good deal. Luke, how's it going, sir?
Howdy, sir. How are you?
Not bad. It dropped about 20 degrees today. So we went from me complaining about climate change and it being too hot and whatnot, and now we're just this side of snow. So good stuff. You got the weather. You got the weather coming there yet?
No, wind.
Yeah, just wind.
Yeah.
So you can't do the outside hockey yet.
Not yet.
Get out there in the swimming pool and knock the puck around a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you ever do that? We used to do that. Swimming pools don't make very good hockey rinks though, because they're awfully small. Anyway, we also have Jen with us tonight. How's it going, Jen?
Hey guys, it's going all right. I have a bit of a cough, so I may disappear and come right back.
Not a problem. And of course, it's sunny and beautiful where you're at. They're on the coastal side of my state, yeah.
I didn't even go out much today, so I don't know. But it's been kind of warm and cold, you know.
Yeah. And then Mike, the guy with the real weather, is with us tonight. How's it going?
Yeah.
He's sitting there on the lawn chair with the sunglasses.
Jumped from 50 to 24 degrees. I just started my vacation, so I will don my wonderful hat here to stay warm.
Nice. So you got snow where you're at, right? So
yes,
You're officially in winter, so good deal. All righty then. So we flipped the imaginary three-sided coin, and we are talking indie books tonight. So apologize in advance for all you people who tune in about 45 minutes late just to catch the indie books. We're doing them now. So indie books. What do we want to talk first? I of course have my large stack of books that I could talk about. Anybody?
Killer Be Killed?
Killer Be Killed. Oh. Issue number 4. The end of the arc.
Oh, no.
Yeah, right. So it doesn't come back until...
I was about to say, does that mean this goes on break?
I think it said in the back there that it was...
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Oh, I don't remember now. I don't want to say what it is without... January.
Oh, it's not that long a break. It's only 1 month.
No, so it's just a month.
Okay.
So what do we think of Kill or Be Killed? 4 issues in, end of the arc, like I said.
Tell you, this was beautiful as always. It's just I like how the art is done. It really does. This is one thing. When I read the concept and this came out, I was just like, I'm not saying that I didn't think Phillips' art would kind of match it, because you just going off Fatale and the fade out, you kind of get that noir type of feel. But I think this is a perfect match for the story. It's just even better, I think, 3 or 4 issues in.
Oh yeah, definitely. For me, it really got good. Issue 3 for me is what it cemented me going, oh yes, this is great. This is really on. I think it's still a noir comic in a lot of ways. It has a lot of the elements of noir to it, because that's these guys' thing. Even though it's it's set in a modernish kind of it's got the kind of the weird elements about whether or not he is having to deal with demons and that sort of stuff. The art, I think is brilliant. The storytelling of how it's done. There are pages in here I can't show because there's
I have to say there was a strip club involved.
There is ample nudity in it, I would say. But I just, okay, so the character in this is relatively, I don't know if he's despicable, but he's not a quality human being per se. I mean, I guess he is in the sense that he wants to only kill people he thinks are bad enough.
Mm-hmm.
But he makes a lot of really bad choices along the way with that.
I think that's what makes this book fascinating. I just love just seeing his thought process play out is kind of what is probably the most intriguing thing to me about this book.
Yeah. I mean, there's the whole, I love the first, almost every single one of these issues. The first 3 or 4 pages always kind of either the first couple issues gave us the whole gag of, oh yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back and tell the story. In this case, the first 3 or 4 pages are kind of a fantasy of, if he was a vigilante in a TV show or a comic book, this is how he'd do it. He'd, say some slick line and blast these people. I mean, I even love it gets down to the whole nitty gritty of, one of the guys he's shooting has a mohawk, spiked up mohawk. It's like, oh, who even wears a mohawk like that anymore? I don't know. All those kinds of parts of it I thought were really, to me makes it fun. It gives it personality. It's kind of an interesting way to lend us into the mindset of this character, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I continue to love his dad's introduction of artwork in it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when you get his dad's artwork, of course, it is this completely different. It looks like a slick, comparison to all the grays and whatnot. As soon as we get to this, the way it's colored and stuff, it's just, I don't know. And they do a really good job of photoshopping those things in. I'm assuming that's how they do that, how they take that picture and fold it sideways and lay it around. So you see all those little magazines. What were you going to say, Luke?
I was going to say, I'm waiting for the train wreck with the guy and his roommate. Now I'm wondering, I think it's going to happen. Now I just don't know in what circumstances. Because aroused, I thought he was just obviously because of his roommate finding out. Right. That he's having sex with. Right. That he's having sex with his best friend who's dating his roommate. Right. Yeah, so maybe he kills him in sort of like a heat of the moment, but based off how this kind of ends, you're maybe wondering if the girlfriend's gonna cut off with him, and then now he's gonna maybe kill the roommate out of jealousy or something. It's interesting, I like how they kind of. Well, right, because basically he goes out, he kind of screws up this whole kill and save people thing, and gets the hell beat out of him by a stripper, which I thought was hilarious. I mean, not that he's necessarily beat by a stripper, but just the way it's not that a stripper can't defend themselves, but the way it's written about.
Yeah, it's like a woman who can pole dance or something. Don't screw with them.
Right. Right. So, and then of course it kind of says they're done. This was the end of their relationship as far as any sort of romantic or sexual and whatnot. I think she's still going to be around, which will be interesting. The real question is she's established that she does not want to have a relationship with the roommate anymore, though. So I'm assuming that breakup is still going to happen. I just thought it was interesting that the roommate immediately thought he was running off to the girlfriend's house, that's what he was doing tonight. I mean, when that all happened, when I'm reading it, I'm just thinking, oh shit, this is going to be bad. There's going to be some serious, and there weren't fireworks, and I love his cover. His cover basically is I'm out being Fight Club guy. That was his cover for the whole thing. I don't know. I just thought it was some pretty quick thinking on his part.
Yeah, and he pulled like a fake mental breakdown. Nervous breakdown. Yeah.
Yeah. But I really like the comic. It's just, and it's such gorgeous eye candy. It's just. Yeah. Anything else we want to say about that?
I don't think so.
Get it if you're not getting it.
Yeah, it's good.
I just can't imagine why you wouldn't be getting it if you're into anything remotely that kind of a scene. That if you've read any of the other stuff, you should be reading this, I guess, if you like that at all. So, okay, we want to talk Tupperware salesman.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
Lady Killer issue number 3 or number 8. I guess if you look on the inside, the way Dark Horse numbers their stuff, they call it number 8 in there also.
Oh, did they? I didn't even notice that either.
Yeah, on the inside of the front cover, I think it says number 8 in a series. I think is what it says in there. So what do you think, Mike?
I thoroughly enjoyed it because I was really happy with how much they pushed the mother-in-law forward and advanced her storyline.
Right.
And because she had been an interesting character, but this really made her pop.
Well, it helps us explain it because in the last series, right, in that first one, she does some pretty crazy stuff in that. And we're like, I mean, she's whipping guns out and beating people. I mean, like, how does she know how to do any of that stuff? And why is she staying quiet? Well, yeah, you're right. This gives us a history as to she clearly carries a lot of secrets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like the swastika on her butt cheek. But yeah. And the cleaner, the guy she's hired as a cleaner clearly is, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the second that character showed up, I had a bad feeling about him, and he's continued to be creepy, and now we know he's creepy. I mean,
in the last few issues, we always got like these close-ups of him, and he's just like, ugh, there's something wrong about you.
Right. And in this, we find out why too. I mean, that he was back during World War II also, and he was helping people flee Germany by chopping them up into small pieces. So
helping them.
Yeah.
In quotations.
Yeah. Right.
In this issue, I especially love the red pages that you were going to show.
Right. Yeah. The art continues to be brilliant. This is great. Where she's kind of this is kind of a time passing. Hey, things have been going really well. It's been working great with the cleaner. All that stuff's just been awesome. Yada yada yada. To kind of go to whip us through some time and get us up to date. It's Christmas time. I absolutely love this page.
Oh yeah.
Because her job is going well again. The glee on her face as she buries that cleaver in that guy's head. But it speeds us up to Christmas time. I mean, this page to me looks so much like something out of Disney's 101 Dalmatians or whatever. It just has that kind of feel to it to me. I love Jolie's art in this book just because it sets a mood so well.
I would be a little interested to find out our lead lady here, what her moral values are on who she kills and who she doesn't.
Well, we've seen her draw the line before. She doesn't do kids. She's backed out of that in the last series, right?
Yeah, sorry. I've forgotten that, but yeah.
Yeah, so I think there are some lines. I think it's interesting that the guy, like they said, the cleaner, of course, is so bad that the union of assassins that was trying to get her to sign up with them is now like, no, we don't really want you anymore unless you get rid of the
He's
cleaner.
too much of a liability.
Right.
Yeah.
So wow. Right.
Yeah.
And of course, the cliffhanger at the end was just wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a cat bringing you a gift. It's like,
I know.
Exactly.
Excellent,
It's a perfect. Yeah. And like I said, Jolene Jones' art is just so good. Her sense of style, she places it in this kind of almost perfect in a way, early 1960s-ish, 50s-ish kind of a feel to it. The fashions they all wear, she just nails all that down. I mean, the stuff that's in the background is just perfect of the era. Everything about it just really gives it the element of, I guess it goes to show that if a lot of artists could have just given us kind of like generic dresses, generic patterns, generics, the stuff wouldn't have been, I don't think, as smartly done as what some of this stuff is, where there's laces at, where there's ruffles, where there's, I just think that it, and I don't know, I know there are guys that pay attention to fashion too. Kevin Wanda, I think Jamie McKelvey does a pretty good job of that as far as, male artists. But I think Jolene Jones just does a really excellent job of having a sense of what the decor of the era was and make sure that that's there, that's in the, that's in the thing.
What's the other book she'll be going to?
Supergirl. She's, exclusive with DC going out of this. And I know that there's doing that Supergirl, like kind of an origin miniseries kind of a thing, right? Like that. Which I'll be picking up, purely for the art, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we'll we'll see what that's like. I don't know what she's going to do past that.
Yeah.
Hopefully some more of her own stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Anything else? Want to say anything else about Lady Killer?
Nope.
Another book that if you're not reading, you should pick it up. If you don't have the first volume, go pick it up and trade. Well worth it, I think. Okay. What else? Anybody?
Hadrian's Wall.
Oh, okay. Cool. Issue 3, yeah?
Yep. It's just you and I who picked this up.
I think so.
This one, because I just told you that I read my books like in the last hour. The ending of this one kind of threw me for a loop.
Oh yeah, right, because it does get a bit strange at the end. You mean the very end of it, or
At the very end of it.
where the guy gets the report?
Yeah.
The Seattle detective accused of planting evidence. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Right? So if that's the case, now what do we trust of this investigator? So you got this guy, he's on this ship, he's investigating a murder. Everybody's a suspect. People are messing with him. He is addicted to painkillers. This cover is all the little pill bottles down there. They're all empty. Somebody flushes. He's out in space. I mean, like light years from Earth. Somebody has flushed all of his pain medication down the sink. So he's going through withdrawals while he's trying to investigate. He's trying to investigate his ex-wife's husband's death, and his ex-wife and him don't get along at all. It wasn't, and
No.
yeah, and so he's out there trying to figure out this. He was hired because they figured he would just go out, look, sign off on it, and go away. And of course, he's taking it personal. He's not leaving. He's over investigating as far as they're concerned, and so you don't know who the good people on the ship are and who the bad people are, if there are anybody like that. So he's trying to investigate. He's putting pressure on everybody, trying to get people to talk and whatnot. And he's for sure the guy's been murdered. It wasn't just an accident. And he finds out that in his wife's room, behind the mirror, there's some medicine that could have been used to kill the ex-husband. So that makes her look suspicious. And then at the very end, the ship's one of the ship's scientists gets this message, and it's a message from, I would assume, Earth newspaper saying that as a detective, he is suspected of planting evidence, which of course now is going to, people on the ship don't really like him there anyway. I would assume that information is going to really turn up the heat and cause chaos.
I really, really like the artwork as well, especially during his little dream sequence.
Yes.
Because it's all like really scratchy.
Yeah.
And I thought that fit that really well.
It gets pretty heated as he's talking to the people, and in his head they start accusing him back. He's got this guy with the busted space suit that's basically taunting him as he's going along. To me, if I had to compare the artwork, which I don't always like doing, but it has elements of oh yeah, I've said that and I'm not gonna remember who it is. The guy used to do New Mutants back in the day. No.
Which one?
The guy who used to do New Mutants back in the day. He's been doing lots of covers lately. I can't believe I cannot remember his name. Oh well. I'll remember it after we get off. But at any rate, if you like Cowl, it's the same artist for Cowl, so it has that kind of elements to it. I think it does a really good job of coloring it to make it continue to be dark. I mean, this isn't some bright and airy Star Trek ship. It's much, much closer to, it's just, yes, Red Dwarf, except without the humor. Much closer to like the movie The Outsider, for instance, where it's very industrial and dark, and things are only lit where they need to be lit out and whatnot. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. This is halfway through. I think it's 6 issues.
I think it's 8.
Is it 8?
I think so.
So quarter of the way in, I'm digging it, really liking it. So
yep, me too.
All right, Luke, what else you got? Anything?
A couple more. I think you're getting this Moonshine.
Yes, issue 2 of Moonshine.
Yep.
Yeah. Right up front, I am a huge Eduardo Rizzo fan. I love his art. So I'm always kind of sold visually. I'm always sold on the book surely because of his art. But let's talk story too. What do you guys think?
I wanted an issue 1 strictly out of curiosity, and I agree. I mean, the art's good. The story, I don't know. It should be like my cup of tea. This is like back in that era of American history. I dig it.
Yeah, set in Prohibition.
For some reason, yeah, and it's just I don't know. It just
there's.
I got issue just to give it another try, and just for some reason I don't know. It's just not clicking with me. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know.
Brandon,
In the werewolf.
I'm liking it. I'm liking it, but I also kind of have that too, where I'm not fully invested yet.
It almost feels like there's not enough story, right? But that's how it feels to me. It feels to me like, okay, the elements are there, but we're not using them yet, right?
Yeah.
So they've dangled out there. There's this guy. He works for the New York alcohol runners, basically runners. He's gone down into the Appalachians because there's a guy down there that makes this great moonshine. He's supposed to get it back. That guy doesn't want to sell. He's an alcoholic. He spends his time drinking and basically getting messed up. There's a werewolf. We know that for sure. The first issue definitely hinted at this issue. Clearly the werewolf's there tearing people apart. So we got that whole kind of thing going on. There's, some law enforcement elements in it too. Part of the family is going to sell out the dad who owns the moonshine because he doesn't want, to sell. He's protecting the family, and then part of the family is going to sell him out, it seems. But all those elements are there, but they aren't, they're not, nothing's happened with them really yet. It feels to me like, and then you get these kind of glimpses of the, of the African Americans that are there in the South too. So we get these kind of weird moments, these weird stare downs between him and, I think it's the same girl, right? In issue 1, where she was dancing, and they have kind of a stare down at the end of that issue. And in this issue, she's at the end of it, finding him all kind of, ragged and crazy. Is it the same person, do you guys think?
Yeah, it's the same person, I think.
Yeah. So, there's clearly supposed to be something there maybe, but why? We're not really getting it. I said for me, I really love the art. I don't know that the actual story itself is, there's much to get a bite of. To really get
well, speaking of getting a bite of, before this person got a bite out of him, he seemed to know who the werewolf was.
Yeah.
Who the werewolf was. So that gives us clues on who the werewolf would be.
Well, yeah, because his crying and terror is a different type of terror. It wasn't a, oh my God, it's a werewolf. It's a, oh my God, I know what's going to happen to me.
Yeah.
Versus our, here he is, hugging the werewolf's leg, saying he's sorry. Whereas this guy, when he sees the werewolf, he has a completely different reaction to seeing the werewolf as it snacks on the guy's head. I love this page. Just their feet and legs and that crunch, and half of his head's gone. But the other guy runs. He runs in absolute terror. And I have to say, I really do love this whole scene of him falling down this hole and into the water and almost drowning.
Right, after his story that he told earlier in the issue. Yeah.
Yeah, of him basically his sister drowning. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are parts I really like, and there's parts that, like I said, just don't completely add up. I mean, I love the character of the whole kids at the beginning, catching the snapping turtle and then finding the body. I mean, I really like those elements. I guess, like I said, though, for me, it's more the visuals than it is the actual story itself. I'll hang on for quite a bit longer because I clearly have nothing but money to spend on stuff like this. So,
and I think it's only $2.99 too, so that helps.
Yes, it is a $2.99 book, which is great. I mean, yeah.
Well, considering we're talking about this, because I see a sneak preview of it, you're getting 80 After Death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So am I.
I am. I'm apprehensive about it, but I am getting it.
Okay.
Why? Because Lemire.
Because both creators.
Yeah.
Mir is doing the art, so I have no concerns there. I know what I'm getting with his art. You know, the two of them are writing the story, and both writers have been hit and miss with me here lately. So I'm it's a thick book, right? It's like a $7-8 book. So
it's $5.99, I believe.
Yeah. So I'm a bit apprehensive as far as that all goes.
So I assume they're gonna be like square bound, like Dead Man was, and there'll be like 3 volumes of that.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll be cool as far as that goes. That'll be cool. So, yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, for sure. Speaking of Lemire books that is firing on all cylinders as far as I'm concerned, Black Hammer. Am I the only one reading Black Hammer?
The one time I'm like, Lemire, I've had enough. I can't do it anymore. And then Black Hammer, everyone says it's amazing.
Book, but I read it. I have it.
But you haven't read it yet?
No, I've read it.
Okay.
It's amazing. It's so good. I love this book. It's like, why can't all his books be this good?
Exactly, right? I mean, part of me knows that it's the artist too. I mean, Dean Ostrom and Dave Stewart together on art. The art is just amazing art. It is so perfect of capturing the elements of golden age superheroes and sci-fi and pulp and all that stuff that was out in the 50s, but keeps it modern too at the same time. I mean, legit, this cover is what is the kind of, in this issue in particular, that you see going on. And because this guy here, I can't remember his first name. His last name is Weird. He's basically an Adam Strange kind of equivalent, and he is actually lost in another dimension, and he can kind of push himself into our dimension to kind of deal with things if he needs to. But he is totally bonkers. I mean, time for him is not lucid. It's all over the place, and so he's never sure exactly what's going on. This issue, issue 5, it's kind of his back history. A lot of these issues have kind of taken each character, each of these superheroes, and kind of given us their back history while slowly furthering the current story that's going on of them being trapped in this town, out on this farm, trying to live normal lives because they got their asses beat so bad by some supervillain that this is the only way they can be saved. Seemingly, is what we're getting hinted at. This issue didn't show us anything of the outside world. Other issues have in the past, but we get this whole thing with him. He was this space explorer. You're kind of, like I said, Adam Strange, Buck Rogers kind of a guy, and he gets himself lost in this dimension, and things kind of come apart for him. And he gets confronted in this issue by Grace, the little girl, about take us to the dimension. Let's get us out of here. And he has to explain that no one besides him can survive this other dimension. And we get to see the results of him taking somebody else to that dimension, which is an amazing piece of art in its own right.
It was really good. That was cool.
But yes, Brandon, you should be kicking yourself for the one Lemire book. Yeah, this is the page. This is what happened to somebody he tried pulling through the dimension. Yes, it's nudity. Oh my God, flag my thing if you want to. But she's slowly pulled apart. I mean, there she is in layers and whatnot, and it's just.
And that'll buff out.
Yeah, no one will notice. But I mean, it's just like I said. He's going through this dimension. He's swimming past this hand with all these different faces. The people he hangs out with on the end of the hand. There's all these crazy synapses around with eyeballs and stuff. Here he is back in the day. Your typical sci-fi pulp hero. The traditional rocket ship and everything. Just an amazing kind of a book. I love this. Who's that?
Like Thanos type thing.
Well, it's our dark side. I mean,
dark side.
Together,
Yeah.
Stands against the anti-god. So the anti-life.
Right.
It's Galacticide.
Well, yeah.
Galacticide. Yeah.
Yes. And I love it when he goes to meet Grace because she's listening to records. And the records, she's got London Calling there, the Ramones, The Cure. Kid's got good taste in music, so.
Well, she's not really a kid, though.
Right. Yeah, she's an
trapped
adult
in
stuck
a kid's body.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But like I said, I tweeted a little while ago after I read this issue. This is issue 5. This is way up there for book of the year for me. It's just really, really good, really smart.
Yep.
Surpasses Vision too.
Well, see, that's another book that's right after the top.
Yeah.
The Vision scratches a different. This scratches. It kind of a superhero, but kind of a different take on superhero without being the deconstruction of like what Watchmen kind of was and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways. Yeah, I would. Well, I'm horrible at picking. This is the best comic of the year. I can't do that. But like I said, this is in running for that. The Vision is amazing too, and I couldn't compare the two.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't do lists either.
Right,
Top lists.
But no, this is really.
You should read both, basically.
Yes. Yeah. If you've only read one or you're not reading either, you're missing out. I guess is where I'm at with that. So, there's actually the book's doing so well they could actually mean an annual too. They're coming out with an annual.
I saw that.
And the annual, I think it's got lots of contributors to it, and it's kind of
it's giant sized, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just telling different kind of, I think, pulp era superhero stories. I think
that should be fun.
I'm excited for that. Just kind of glancing at the comments. I'm horrible at checking those out, but Reader 1717 is asking if the Vision is officially over. Yes, 12 was the final, and that was the planned finale for the Vision. So
tier.
Yeah, exactly. Except for it was perfect, right? I mean, if they would have kept dragging it along, I mean, at some point it might have fallen down. So I'm really happy that it ended on for me, a high note anyway. So yeah. But super excited every time a Black Hammer book, hits the pages. It's just stoked.
Do you think Black Hammer ever get too close to the DC? I mean, because it pretty much mirrors a lot of the characters. Could it ever be a legal issue?
I don't think so. I mean, all you have to do is move something, I mean, as far as the way the character looks, all you have to do is color something a little different or put a band in a different place and name them something off of it. Otherwise, Marvel and DC would have sued each other a long time ago over a lot of stuff, right? Okay. I mean, the Squadron Supreme is a knockoff of the Justice League. I mean, there's just so much that stuff that literally is, one or the other.
All right. I just didn't know nowadays because I know, the Shazam fights, and there's a couple others that where they fought for characters. All right.
Right. In the case of Shazam, though, I don't understand how it is that why DC capitulated to that, because Captain Marvel was around longer. Captain Marvel, the big cheese, the guy that yells Shazam was around longer than Marvel's Captain Marvel. They bought that from, I can't remember what the company's name was that originally created those, but, they had ownership. Why they didn't continue with it, why they gave it up. I think basically because most people recognize that Shazam and they were going for a bigger market, and the bigger market doesn't understand that the guy really was called Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So I don't know what do you call all the people that are part of that family, though? I mean, is it Shazam Jr. and Shazam Miss and
instead of Mary Marvel and
I don't know, but yeah. All right, any other indie books we want to talk about?
Did anyone pick up Renegades, the Harbingers?
I did not.
Renegades. All right. Pretty much, if you kind of had to read the series, the original one. It's all the same characters are being brought back. The idea is, they defeated Toyo Harada, who ran a company. He was kind of like the evil Charles Xavier. He wanted to make these kids protected under him and then incorporate it into an arm of his. It really ends up that, they fought him. He has to flee. Now we pick up that most of them have scattered. The group, isn't together anymore, but there's these young kids that have found on the internet how to activate their psychic abilities, and so it's like only 1 out of 10 survive. So the Harbingers decided and put a stop to this, try and save these people and correct what's going on. The artwork in the previous series was way better, and I don't know. The storyline so far has not been good. I don't think I'll continue past this.
Well, is that going to be an ongoing, or is it planned as like a miniseries?
I think they like to do minis.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
I don't know. It was advertised that way. But I think they like to do maybe a 12-issue run at most. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Anybody got anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I got Reborn, issue number 2.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, talk about beautiful art. I know I'm a Capullo fanboy, and I get it. But, man, the art in this is really, really cool. And you really appreciate what he does with facial expressions. It kind of shows emotion. And I think it's kind of underrated, but then you get, like, big splash pages like that. It's, like, the detail he goes into. And
Nice.
like, I remember, like, looking, it's like, he did in Batman, like the little details, like the Riddler's reflection in the cane, the reflection in Washington broken glass, all that little stuff, like you really get in this, and I think you kind of get more of what this book is really all about in this. You kind of get the bad side, who's going to be the villain in this, and it's a pretty cool concept where if you lived a good life, you go to here. If you live a bad life, you go to here. And it's kind of amplified. Like the better you treated people while you were alive and you passed, you're in this new world and you have like bigger powers. And it's really cool, interesting concept. And the fact is too that you get this, you remember everything before you died, so when you get in this new place, you still have who people are. They might look different, obviously, but that said, a lot of people try to connect with their fallen husband or their wife or whatnot, and sometimes they get lucky and they run into them, sometimes they don't, and even pets you see in here. So I will say the concept with the bad folks is just, I dig it. It's pretty cool, and I saw this one image here of all these people impaled on the sword. I was like, oh man, that's awesome. So Millar, I get it. If he's not your bag, I understand. You like something just for art, this is like a no-brainer. I mean, Capullo, this is old Batman. This is Capullo, Glapian, and Placencia. This is before Miki jumped on board. So if you got that type of itch you want to scratch again,
Sure.
there's really no other reason, but I get it. Millar has his.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind the art's probably good. I'm not gonna read Millar books anymore. I have never been satisfied with one. By the time it's done, I'm always pissed off. So, yeah. Alrighty.
Luke,
Britannia, anybody else? Oh, go ahead, Mike.
What's that?
I was just going to ask Luke, does it feel like a movie pitch? Or does it feel like a fully fleshed out comic book?
Now that you mention it,
It has to be a movie pitch.
Movie pitch.
All right.
It has to be.
I could see it.
It has to be. That's how he gets people. That's how he gets big named artists to work with him. Hey, come work with me. What we do will get turned into a movie, and you'll make millions. That's his pitch. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Capullo's went to work with him, is because it's not the book itself; it's the return. It's the return that they are assuming they're going to get after the fact, because everything that he's produced here lately has been picked up to possibly have a movie made out of it.
Okay.
Like the Chrononauts, the last book he did, the Chrononauts. I don't know if Huckleberry's been picked up for that, but yeah.
I mean, do you think Capullo? Do you think he needs that?
I don't know, Luke. I don't know, Luke. Do you need extra money in your life just because you can? Yeah, okay.
What I'm saying is, I think he could, ideally just go to any project. I think he's gonna make some good money. Now, the incentive you're gonna get with the royalties with the money with the movie.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah,
I mean, yes, Capullo makes good money. Yes, there's no doubt about it. He made good money while he was working on Batman. If you've ever seen his pages, his original art pages for sale somewhere, you know he's making good money. But I mean, that's part of the allure. It has to be the fact, because, you know, as an independent book, and I don't know what kind of deal he signs, because Millar is kind of his own person within Image. So I don't know what the royalty split is when it comes to anything else that comes out of the book. You know, it has to be. That has to be a huge thing. You know, as a creator, you get to create your own thing and a high potential for it to make bank, you know, down the road when somebody produces a movie out of it and whatnot. Heck yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think that's a big pull, you know. And I'm not complaining. I'm not faulting, you know, I'm not saying that Capullo's a sellout for, you know, trying to do something that's gonna make money. He's still doing, he's still doing what he wants to do. It's not like, you know, I'm not saying, you know, Capullo's a whore for signing up with Millar to do it, you know, to do a book and whatnot. It makes perfect sense. I mean, why do you think when Millar said, "Oh, you know, I'm willing to pay somebody, you know, $10,000 to come and do this book for me"? It's not very long ago. He kind of threw it out there for anybody. Anybody could solicit him with their art and say, "Hey, I want to do a book with you." And lots of pros were throwing art at him because, you know, the movie deal allure. Clearly, the movie studios are looking at him for producing stuff because the kick-ass stuff did well enough and stuff that they are looking to him for you know, to potentially put out the next movie. So I like my comic books to be written for comic books, I guess. And if somebody happens to decide they want to make a show out of it and then they readapt it to make a show out of it, awesome. But I like my comic books to be comic books, not a movie script that's in the guise of, you know, weird storyboards that they put in the shape of a comic. So, Britannia, get off my rant on that. My mother still reading Britannia? I must be. Okay.
Yep.
So this is issue 3, basically telling a story of the first detective. He is in Rome. Things get more crazy pants for him. He's decided there really is this evil spirit that he calls Orcus. I can't remember what the people, what the Celts are calling it. They call it something else. He discovers it's been summoned up by this woman, but she can summon it, but now it's totally out of control. She has no control over the thing, and it's just kind of eating everything. It's going to chew the Romans up, but it's probably going to chew everybody else up too, kind of a thing. And he's trying to figure out how he might be able to deal with it or whatnot. He kind of gets succumbs to the magical ways of this female druid, and she's basically seeming like that she's going to end up being a bad guy, or she doesn't want to be, but she's being forced to be. She's a monster at the end of it. Looks like it's going to eat him. It's an interesting book. I've seen some people kind of complain about some of the coloring, Sleepy Reader, and some of us have complained about being so darkly colored that you can't really see all the pencil work and whatnot. This issue wasn't as bad as what some of them have been, but I'm still enjoying it. It's kind of an interesting, kind of a weird take on a detective story set, you know, way back in Roman times where the Romans are trying to control Britannia. So you kind of like it. Anybody got any other books they want to talk about?
Anybody picking this up?
Yes. The Electric Sublime.
Sublime, yes. I love this book. I wasn't sure if I would because I'm not crazy about the art, but I love the colorist.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's a good story. You know, I like the idea of there being some alternate dimension that is art. You know, the world of art, and when things go wrong with the art, or art really influences people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I like that part. And
right. the extra dimension is the space between the canvas and the art itself. That's kind of where it's at. I mean, there's a art detective in this, and she is like, so we're literally actually in Mona Lisa, and it's like, well, that's awfully crude and gross. I mean, it's more like we're nestled between her and the canvas itself, kind of a thing. So yeah, I really dig it. I like stuff that has to do with art. I love art. I love art theory. I love thinking about what art can do for us, how it moves us, or all that kind of stuff. So that's all kind of at play in the book, in this issue. Kind of an interesting way of written. It's kind of, it's set in the now, but she's also remembering back 28 hours ago, because the first issue, they get attacked by a guy who looks like Andy Warhol and a bunch of other people, and they dive into Mona Lisa to hide, to escape. And so now they're wandering around in this other dimension, trying to find a door to get back out. They encounter some weird stuff in there. Of course, she's kind of losing her mind as she's going along, because she's literally walking with a 6'6" not 7 foot, 6'6" articulate, the mannequin that you posed to use for drawing. That's Manny the mannequin. She's having a conversation with him, plus this artist who is lucid. He's quite calm and a normal person when he's in the
art world, but when he's not, he's like a crazy person.
Yeah, he's a complete raving lunatic who needs his paints and all that kind of stuff. And then we have this kid Dylan. We get this at the end of the issue. We get this weird thing. The kid Dylan, he envisions stuff, he draws it down or whatever, and it happens. They're showing him these cue cards, and the cue cards are like, it'll be a pony, and he'll say, "I see a door," and they'll show him a clock, and he'll say, "I see the wind," and he holds up a skyscraper, and the kid goes, kaboom. And the next picture is literally a skyscraper, blowing up, kind of a thing. So clearly this kid's got some sort of crazy, weird power or whatever. So, and I love the ends of the issues, because I love the concept art, and we could have used this as a cover, but we didn't. Just the kind of odd stuff that's in it too.
And I like the part where, the Andy Warhol guy has gone in there to like the art class, and the students all cut out their tongues, and then they're like, it's a Pollock painting.
Yeah. Well, I guess I love that also, because I'm almost positive I've either watched other crime dramas or read other crime dramas where they'll say, oh, this murder is so gory, it looks like a Pollock. And for anybody who's not familiar with Pollock's artwork, he was notorious for just like setting canvas on the ground and flicking paint, just throwing paint all over the place and whatnot. And so, yes, there's more than one policeman describes this crime scene of this. It's like 7 art students that have cut their tongues out and have bled out and died. And there's blood splattered everywhere. And they all refer to it as a Pollock, which, of course, it being an art crime, all the better for that being the description and stuff. But I'm with you. The penciling isn't my favorite in a lot of cases. I mean, the detective woman, she looks really strange. She looks like a, but the coloring is really sharp.
Right, the coloring is beautiful, and you can even tell. You can really tell the difference when she's coming back in the real world, and it looks kind of hazy.
And she makes and she makes the comment about the fact that now that she's been in this other reality, it's so bright and full of life that now that she's in the real world, everything just has a haze. It's just a dim, kind of grim, lifeless thing. So, yeah.
That's cool. I'm interested to see where it's going. I'm digging it. It's only like 4 issues, so. Right.
But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it. I want to briefly touch on this. It's a number 1. I don't think anybody else probably picked it up. It's from IDW. It's Yakuza Demon Killers. Anybody else pick this up? Okay, so the cover is what the art looks like inside. It's absolutely bonkers. What's that, Mike?
I had seen another picture of the guy who holds up his like arrest plaque, and it's the tentacle coming. So
yeah. So yeah, it's this kind of kind of manic looking sort of art. I mean, if you're looking at her The colors are very bright. The colors remind me of Starve. You know, it's just that the palette is kind of, you know, limited hues on the panel, you know, kind of thing. So basically the premise is there's this, they're in Japan. There's this girl, I can't remember what her name is offhand, and it's Japanese, some horrible Japanese name. So there you go. But she's a heroin addict. She thinks she's dying here at the end. You know, she literally thinks she's seeing death. It ends up being a friend of hers that's come to get her. She spends almost half the issue, you know, puking on and off as she's, you know, suffering from her kind of heroin overdose. She has this friend whose name is Hizzo, but she calls him Rizzo. She pronounces his name wrong, and she has known him for 5 years and pronounces his name wrong. It leads to some funny things. They're thieves. Yeah, she's a lock picking expert. And they team up with these two Americans they're supposed to be muscle for them. And one of the kind of funny things in the book is she's calling him Rizzo, and one of the Americans is like, is she calling him Rizzo? I thought his name was Hizzo this whole time. Oh my God, we've been calling him the wrong name. You know, so there's this confusion about the names and stuff. But they're breaking into the Korean art museum to steal some really fancy katana, you know, that's in this case. Katana. Also breaking into this place right behind them is a group of Yakuza. These 4 guys right here. And they are kind of, oh boy, they're kind of excited the fact that some of their punks are breaking into it because they get to beat those punks up and then steal the sword from them. Once they hack through the computers to break into the sword, it opens up this other dimension, and these demons start pouring through because they want the sword too, it seems. And the first demon that jumps through is kind of a dinosaur-looking like thing, and it chomps off a guy's head. It makes for some excitement and whatnot. I really like the story. These Yakuza guys, they're not just Yakuza. They literally are demon-killing Yakuza. They show up and they chop the demons all up and chase them off. Most of them. A bigger group of demons are coming on the way. So there's going to be some crazy antics go on as far as that goes. Yeah, there's the cover to issue number 2. More of that nutsy kind of art. But the funny thing about this book is it reads like an anime or a manga storyline as far as that goes. I mean, the 4 Yakuza guys, they all got kind of one-liners that are kind of witty and funny. But the art clearly is not in the style of what you traditionally see as manga or that sort of thing. You don't get the funny emoticons, the stuff that I don't like about anime and manga storylines. So I'm really digging this because it's kind of this kind of crazy element. There's this magical sword. It's the heroin addict picked up the sword because she figures she's going to die. She's at least going to fight for a few seconds before she dies. The sword is starting to wrap around her arm, and it's tying her arm up. She's becoming attached to it. So I have no idea what's going to happen next, but I really like the art. It's action packed. It's got some good lines in it and some, you know, some funny facial expressions and some of that sort of stuff in it. So I'm really kind of enjoying this. And it's just something I just kind of picked up on, kind of a lark. I was leery of the title, but the cover looked really cool. And I looked up some other art, and I thought the art looked kind of cool in it. So, yeah, we'll see where it goes. Any other indie books? I know Jen has one other one I want to hear about.
Yeah, I've got several more. So this is the one, I'm guessing.
Ether, yes.
Ether? Yeah, Ether. And it's about this guy is kind of like an adventuring scientist, and he goes to this magical realm of the ether to learn and study and kind of use scientific method and science to kind of debunk magic, because he feels that it all has an explanation. We just don't know what it is yet, kind of a thing. So every time he goes there, he's a little more prepared. You know, he has a scarf that doubles as a breathing filter, and to avoid magical contaminants, and an earth to ether experimental radio, and containers for field specimens, stuff like that. And then to get there, this giant purple ape is kind of like the gatekeeper, and he's great. Every time he goes there, he's like, you know, I'm Glum, the gatekeeper of the crossroads. Speak your destination, bub. You know, and so he's like, do you have to say that every time? It's just the dialogue's great, the plotting's great in this book. It's fun. It's kind of like a mashup of science fiction, fantasy, and Sherlock Holmes, and all kinds of stuff. Because he goes there, and he's just going there for research, you know. But when he gets there this time, it's different because the mayor wants to talk to him. He has a job for him, and there's been a murder. And let me see if I can find it. I love the little mayor guy too. He's adorable. I'll find a good picture of him. But it's just the Blaze has been killed, and so he goes, and she's like the protector, like the main force. She's the most powerful of the warriors, you know, kind of. And they're keeping it hush hush because they don't want the realm to like freak out that the Blaze is dead. So he wants, you know, him to take the job. And when he goes in, he sees like, the scene's kind of weird. He puts these cool like glasses on with all the little mirrors to look around, and he realizes that how she was shot doesn't make sense because the bullet entered from the ceiling, yet it moved around, and so it's a magic bullet.
Magic bullet. Nice.
Yeah, it's a little magic bullet. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it looks like a little baby bullet thing.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, no, it's just a fun book. It was entertaining through the whole book. You know what I mean? Just and I dig the art. You know, I saw a few pages before, and I wasn't sure, but it really fits with the story, and the colors are great, and it's going to be interesting, you know, to see him do the investigation with with Glum and everything around the big purple monkey. He's good.
Sure.
It's a good book. It's really well written. I would put it up there with some of the other books, you know, if it continues at this level. I mean, a lot of these Dark Horse books like Depth and Black Hammer and Ether, and I'm sure there's another one I'm forgetting, but they're really, really good, really top quality books.
Yeah.
So
Cool. I'm kicking myself for not having picked that up. I'm not sure exactly why I didn't. I know it was one I looked at and hummed and hawed, and I'm like, yeah, I can't just keep adding
right.
my list because or at that point where I can't get them all read, kind of thing. So,
yeah, I think
I'll probably go back and pick it up.
Started cutting back a bit on my superhero books and growing my indie books a little bit more lately. So.
Yeah. Cool. Anybody got any other books that want to talk about?
I got a few more.
Yeah.
I got BPRD.
BPRD, the final issue.
I know, and it was really good ending, I thought. I was, you know, I was like worried about there being some magical fix at the end.
Right.
And in a way there kind of was. But it was written well enough that it didn't bother me one bit. I enjoyed this book from the moment I started reading it. You know what I mean? Not this issue, but in general, BPRD, the run. Whenever I hopped on way back when 2 years ago after I saw you talk about it, you know, or whatever. So, great book.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a bummer. It's gone. I mean, to me, I know that Hellboy is kind of what spawned it all, and a lot of people consider that the heart of the book. I really don't think so, though. For me, it's always been PRD has been the heart of the Magnolia universe, and everything else kind of spins out of it. I mean, they use Hellboy as the title thing because every Joe Schmo has some sense of who Hellboy is because of the movies and that sort of stuff. But I mean, there's been this threat, this super incredible threat to the earth and whatnot, but it's never really been about that, though, right? It's been about the people, and the way the people get settled in this ends up being good. I think it settles. This ended so much better than the Abe Sapien book did, right? Because I think you were around. Jen, were you reading Abe Sapien too?
Yeah, I was reading Abe Sapien.
Right, and I think
I dropped off at some point.
Okay.
So
Okay. The way Abe Sapien ended not good. It just like the last couple issues, it's like, oh my God, we gotta get it done. And it's kind of threw it all together kind of thing. So I was kind of concerned that that's how this was gonna be, it wasn't gonna end well. And I have difficulties of endings of books anyway.
me too. Yeah.
But yes, I thought this ended great. Yes, it has kind of a, not a Deus Machina, but kind of in a sense. It shuts down the biggest thing, but not everything. Not everything's gone. We have some very evil people still walking around with the knife that was used to kill Satan. So there's still stuff out there.
Right. They can continue it if they wanted to. You know what I mean?
Right. Some characters are gone. There is a permanent death of about half the crew that you can name are gone by the end of this book. But not everybody's gone. They could go on if they wanted to. I really wish they would have, but they're not. They're going to move on to other things. They're going to tell other stories. So there's no more BPRD plainly, but they're going to have other stuff in the Mill universe. I'm okay with that or whatever. But yes, I like the way this ended. I like that Sherman's still around. Liz Sherman's still around. She didn't bite the dust. She's still kind of doing her thing, and yeah, I like the way it ended. And I had no idea. You know what I mean? I wasn't sure right up until the end.
Last issue, I was like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do?
Right. And I thought maybe I was almost to the point thinking that they were literally going to kill the Earth.
I did too. I seriously thought this is it's going to go.
Right. That it's going to just be ended, and every story after this is going to be told before because this, kind of thing. Yeah.
Which is cool that they were able to make us feel that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then still end it so strongly that I was impressed.
Yeah. Great book, and I love it. When you open up these Dark Horse books, typically you open up on the inside of the front cover. It tells you about the book, and it always tells you what number it is in the series. And it gives you kind of lots of times it'll give you a brief description of what's going on. This one, literally, it's a big white space, and it just says the end. So, and that's what I knew for sure it was ended. Because I tell you, I keep reading stuff, and I'm thinking, is it really done, or are they just gonna kind of like, are they gonna take a break and then suddenly it's gonna come back as BPRD, Heaven on Earth? They're gonna name it something. I don't know what they're gonna name it. They're gonna name it something else and go on with something different. No. Done.
Yeah.
147 issues. Done.
Yep.
It was a good run. So.
And then I can just work on getting the back issues.
Yep. What's that, Luke? What was that, Luke?
So do you have all of it?
No.
The run.
No. I jumped on. They started numbering them individually at 100, and I got on the book probably 20 issues prior to that. And so prior to that, it was called things like, it would be like BPRB Pickens County, and there'd be a couple issues called that, and then there would be BPRD Hell Trade, and there'd be like 5 or 6 issues of that. If you opened up the inside cover, like Lady Killer we were talking about, on Lady Killer it says it's issue number 8. Even though we all know it's Lady Killer 2, number 3, that's how it was numbered. So it's really hard to go back and find it in order because you literally have to pull the comic out and look at the inside of it to know where it's at in the grand sequence of things. So in a way, it was really nice when they went to, they started numbering it at 100. For a while it was like issue number 100 is BPRD, and I think it's Rise of the Master, I think is what it was called, for a while, and then it became the Hell on Earth, for a long time. It was Hell on Earth for a very long time. But that's how it is before that. So no, I've only got like 4 or 5 of the ones right before it. So, and I have read a large chunk of it because I have a big chunk of it in hardback trades, the whole Plague of Frogs. I have all of that in 4 hardback trades. But there's stuff before that too. And I have bits and pieces of it throughout. But it's one of those things I do kind of want to pick up at some point. Just go back and buy all the singles so I can literally have the entire run. So I haven't read it all, and I definitely want to. It's a cool universe. Okay. Anything else?
I got Lucifer.
Yep, I read Lucifer too. See, I like it when Jen comes on because I got somebody to talk books with. She reads all the same books as me. So this is issue 12 of Lucifer. This is the final issue that Black is writing. New writer takes over next
Oh yeah,
issue.
I didn't not know that.
Yeah, same artist in the book, but new writer.
Okay.
So we kind of get the final confrontation between Lucifer, goes up to heaven and confronts the new version of the Great Presence, the new version of God, I guess, for lack, just to simplify it for all of us. And basically does kind of a power play. Basically says, look, you're not really in control of anything. You walked away from this. This little girl actually has control of everything. Of course, she said a couple issues ago that she wants nothing to do with this conflict. But of course, Lucifer doesn't tell God that. Lucifer just says, hey, look, this person can control it all. And God's going to wreck everything. God says he's taken the best parts of Lucifer, the best parts of everything, and he's going to completely wipe the entire existence of everything, and he's going to remake everything again. But this current God is an evil-looking, nasty ball of hate. And Lucifer really doesn't want to go down that road. So he basically bluffs his way through through threatening him, and he decides that the God does that he'll back off for now. But he's still there, and he's promised to kind of keep his angels up in heaven and not mess with Earth, let Earth do its own thing and whatever. And the issue kind of ends with Lucifer and Mazakai, who is still the ruler of hell, deciding they need to do two things. Mazakai wants to get rid of Lucifer's son because Lucifer's son's actually trying to rule hell right now. And Lucifer and both of them have decided that they need to kill God. That's how it ends. It ends with them deciding, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Yeah, we need to kill God. So I'm liking the book. I mean, I think it's kind of a fun,
it's fun.
loosely heaven and hell based fairy tale of sorts. See if I can find a good picture of God is just this giant black amorphous tentacled nasty thing. So there isn't a good picture of him because there he is. Yeah, he's all black and inky. I mean, they kind of keep him that way. So he's all kind of glare is bad there, but he's all just kind of a mass of teeth and tentacles and his words are in this nasty red and yellow font. But yeah, like I said, I've enjoyed this story so far. Like I said, it's got kind of a almost a fairy tale kind of a feel to it.
Who's the new writer?
I can't remember what their name is. Somebody else with kind of the same kind of experience that Black does, of kind of writing this kind of, kind of a urban fantasy kind of a thing, I believe. A guy instead of a girl, because Black, I can't remember her first name offhand, but Holly Black. It's a guy next, but yeah, we'll see, I guess, what goes on with that. I mean, he'll take over with what's been written so far. They left it in a place with the characters in a place where they can kind of go off and tell whatever kind of story they want to, right? So,
right. Yeah. Well, I'll stick with it for a bit, for sure.
Yeah. That's it. That's all my indie books. I'm out.
I'm done.
Right. I don't know of any indie news per se. No movie deals, no TV deals, no these new books are coming that I can think of that have been announced kind of a thing I can think of. All righty then. Let's move on to DC. Let's talk some DC.
Okay.
What do we want to talk first? Go ahead, Mike. What do you read?
Get punchy with Batman.
Oh boy.
Batman issue 11.
Yeah, I mean, I told my friend I wasn't going to pick it up. I flipped through it and I picked it up. It's the battle that keeps on going. I like it because of the team. I wanted to see more team action, and of course the book kind of took us in a different direction. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this.
say you're not going to pick it up, and in 2 weeks pick it up again.
Yes, exactly.
The art is beautiful.
The art is beautiful. It is. That's why I'm staying with it no matter what. But
Janet does an awesome job on art.
it's beautiful. I love his art.
Luke, talk to me about Batman issue number 11. I Am Suicide.
Okay. Well, I'm giving him credit for the fact that we might get a 180 with Catwoman. I mean, granted, I love the fact that the relationship between Selena and Bruce is like always like so close, but they can't like going back like stories like Heart of Hush, just awesome. Hush,
Sure.
Too. But she was a villain once upon a time.
A villain who killed over 200 people?
Yeah, that's a little
Apparently.
So, but then again, it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting the fact that there's something Bruce knowing that, and we've seen, especially in the beginning, it's like, I mean, she's done something bad, and in reality, there's really nothing he can really do to totally get her out of it. So this is like a way to kind of help her out. So, but maybe that's why she did what she did, is that, it's, hey, if I go back, it's not going to be any good to me because I killed 200 people. How can you walk away with that and not be getting a needle?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I still don't understand. I mean, I see the plot. I get it. Punchy, Black Tiger, and I can't remember her name there, be the distraction while Selena and Wesker go get Psycho Pirate and Batman's kind of oversee. I get it. But I still don't understand is Wesker. What's his point in all this? I don't know. And I did kind of chuckle a little bit when Selena kind of put Wesker in his place, like, do you do what everyone tells you to do? Well, yeah. Well,
yeah.
Just don't move. Oh.
Is that why Batman? But is that why Batman got him? Because it's the person he could put on his team he knew would be loyal to whatever his instructions are.
And the yes man. But then it's just like, why? He's still got to bring something to it. I don't know.
I don't know.
So
I think the
I like this interpretation of Bane. I love it. I really do. I love it. At first, I think the no Venom thing might got to me, but I like it.
Yeah. He's still got the God complex. He's still got the God complex. He's sitting on a throne with skulls all around him. I mean, he looks like the utter badass. He's totally in control of what's going on, or seems to think that he is. He's got the whole God complex thing down. Yeah.
I think that we're going to find that the bag that Wesker is carrying, Batman's going to tell him to do it. It's his ace in the hole. And when Scarface comes out, everything is going to go crazy. It's going to be like the escape plan.
Mm-hmm. He's the bomb.
Yep.
The bomb. That's a good point.
Okay.
It's better than last issue.
Okay, so it's my turn to kind of lose my shit. The whole conversation between Batman and Catwoman, this whole catastrophe of dialogue that goes on here. So Catwoman's a freaking lunatic, basically. Her diction is in mostly in sentences that aren't more than 3 words at a time. This whole, is this supposed to be really bad poetry conversation they're having as they're hopping around the rooftops, calling each other bat and cat? And I mean, no, this doesn't feel like somebody, characters that have supposedly had this relationship or whatever. Maybe we're going back to they've had a couple one night stands on top of rooftops, half in and half out of their costumes, a la New 52. I don't know, but I thought this was really bad. It looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous as all hell, but reading it was
I didn't understand Catwoman at all.
And the whole okay, so she's killed 237 people. I still am having a hard time wrapping my head around that.
Yeah, me too.
So she's in Arkham. She's in Arkham because it's the place the crazy people go because she's crazy now. And she's on death row. They're going to kill her. Last time I checked, Joker has never even made fucking death row. Excuse my language. So it makes no sense to me that suddenly Catwoman would suddenly be on death row when, you know, every other month Joker's out gassing half the town, making people crazy. I mean, you know, Luke's got his parents in a rubber room in the bottom of the, you know, basement of the Batcave, bouncing off the walls. And I know that they're not the only ones that are out there that are completely. I don't know. There's huge elements. I get the idea of changing up Batman, doing something completely different. I'm cool with that. And I don't have to have it be the same. Don't get me wrong. But this is just so way out there with no. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense just how out there so much of this is. It's so far off from. Batman is just this alien character. I don't know. I was so put off by this whole beginning conversation that I don't know. The art is, like I said, the art's amazing. This whole pipe they're climbing through, but man, I am not digging so much about this. Batman's this kind of weird character. You know, Celine's a double crosser, but this double cross that she does at the end of this thing, and I get why she's doing it because she's going to be killed. I mean, she's on death row. Which I think I said that's puzzles me land. So I get she's gonna do whatever she needs to do to get off of death row, but she just killed 2 more people. It looks like. I mean, she slit their throats.
Right.
By all. So
And
she's
she's
gone.
So
she's become
how to
completely.
defeat Batman.
She's become completely a cold-blooded killer. The 237 people she killed, she supposedly kills them because those people. Right, they did something that was horrific. They burned all those children in the foster home or whatever. So so she has a direct correlation to going after them because it's personal. Punch and Judy, there's no personal there, I don't think, other than listening to them, you know, hang off of each other as either funny or annoying. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
Is that a way to still point the fame that I'm not with them? I'm willing to basically.
Yeah, I get it, but you know, Luke, you said, oh, you like the relationship from the Heart of Hush and all of that stuff that was going on. That's toast in this, as far as I can tell. Their relationship is completely different. She would, I guess I have never seen Catwoman at this level of villain. Cat burglar. She steals rich so she can live a fancy, fickle, luxurious life and go on with whatever. Now she is basically a stone cold killer.
Right.
So she's no different than everybody else. Whereas before she was this kind of, even if you didn't want to use her as the anti-hero, even if she wanted to use her as truly she's a thief and she's out for herself and that's all, this goes way past that. I don't know. I'm not picking on you, Mike. 2 weeks, I'll be picking up the next issue, so I can. So I can bitch about it, I guess, because it's Batman, and I'll keep buying it. I just don't. I'm confused as to what the voice is. And I've said that for the very first issue of King's Batman. I don't understand the voice. I don't. I mean, I get what the plot is, but I don't. I mean, most everything else I've read of King's, there's something smarter. There's something bigger going on. And I can't see it at all in the Batman book, and I don't understand why that is.
And I mean, most of this book wasn't Batman, really. You know what I mean? It was all someone else's voice as well. So.
You know, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with some of their story being told within Batman, but like I said, the art is beautiful. But man,
I'm just saying you don't get a lot of Batman.
Yeah. I don't know. So Christina's saying, do you think King is trying too hard? That he has to prove to everyone that he should be writing Batman? I think he's already proven he's a good writer in other books. So that's the part that puzzles me. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I want to say I want to say there's somebody else. There's somebody else in the background, editorial wise, that's going, that's afraid to let him do what he wants to do versus Snyder, where they kind of let him kind of, control the Bat world. Certainly King is not controlling, is not controlling the Bat world. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and if nothing else, like you said, the dialogue, when we had in the issue of Sheriff, the wife grieving at the swimming pool, and then compare that to Catwoman, nobody's putting the words in the mouth other than him. And I think that's where we see the misfiring of a gun.
Right. Yeah. Just, I don't know. And like I said, the world that we're suddenly in with this death penalty thing and whatnot, I'm okay with that, but there needs to be a ton, 3/4 of Arkham needs to be on death row. And so does half of Blackgate, under that pretext that somehow, because there's no way, right? Am I wrong? That there's no way that the Joker hasn't killed more people than, maybe I'm just assuming that. I don't know. All of that puzzles me. And I want to like Batman. I got nothing against Batman. I love the character, but this is just all kinds of weird stuff for me. I don't know.
Well, I think that it is a tough comparison because.
No, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that anything that we want to say about any one of these characters isn't set in stone because this is once again a brand new universe.
Sure.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Luke?
I would say, would you argue that maybe that there's a point to the Joker that he's just mentally ill, whereas Selina.
But that's what Arkham is, right? So she would be considered mentally ill if she's in Arkham.
Right.
And while I did something wrong, maybe justified, it's 200. It's violently. It's not. It's more revenge than mental illness.
So why isn't she in Blackgate then? Why was she in Arkham?
Good question. How many times have we seen Blackgate? When's the last time we seen Blackgate? Let me throw that out there.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying that.
That's why it's just we just don't see Blackgate. It's Arkham.
If she's criminally insane, then she's in Arkham. And she's crazy, and you can't hold her in the same level of accountability, right? I mean, if we're not putting Joker there because he's nuts, I don't know. See, and maybe I'm splitting reality here, is that it shouldn't be because it's a damn superhero comic, but I don't know. It
might be just a plot device to get everyone there at one place. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, and I find this Batman, and it's not because Batman's my baby. I like Batman, but it's not like it's, I'm married to the character. This is more jarring to me than Burnside Batgirl is. I get what was going on when they did Burnside Batgirl. I get what was going on. I understood the voice. I may not have agreed with it. It may not be my favorite, but I understood what they were trying to do and where they were going. This 11 issues makes no sense as far as what's the voice and what are they trying to do. For me, it doesn't.
Okay, I'm gonna watch my note because it's probably not gonna be very popular, so I'm gonna watch the words here. And I kind of said it before. The problem with the Burnside thing is Batgirl was not Batgirl. They totally lost Batgirl. I get you the voice and kind of way Batman kind of goes it, but they just totally. She was a slut. She was a slut.
No, I disagree with that.
That was number one. Yeah. And number two, it's this boy. I shouldn't even said that. But I just think the problem is that Barbara was not Barbara. It just wasn't Barbara. Well, in this case, I got it. I think the execution might be low, but I still think Bruce is still kind of there. I mean, what's the driving force out of all of this? It's trying to help Supergirl
or Gotham Girl. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, Gotham Girl. Yeah. You're right. So I mean, I'm saying you're wrong. I just think that's might be a little too much, but
the one last point I have a problem with this Batman Suicide Squad is the Suicide Squad works because of the bombs in the neck. Are we saying that the only reason this group works is because of the fear of the bat?
Well, clearly this group
Reduce
doesn't
it.
work.
No.
Yeah, I thought Wesker was what he gets a better detention site or something.
He got access to something. He got access to something. They're all getting something out of this. They're getting the carrot instead of the stick. Waller just does the stick.
Okay.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I will continue to get. You'll continue to let me complain about it if it stays the way it is. I guess it just doesn't make it doesn't make sense to me. And like I said, liking or disliking the Burnside background has nothing to do with it, as far as I'm concerned. But I understood what was going on from a writer's perspective and from a storytelling perspective. I do not understand this Batman and what they're trying to do. All the Snyder stuff, as much as it was drug out, some of it was way longer than it needed to be. Clearly understood what the vision and the voice was as they were going along. This one does not seem to have anything. It just kind of seems to be dysfunctional in a lot of ways, I guess. And this is me trying to take out the element of that it's King writing it. So I even pulling away the expectation that got tampered a long time ago, quite frankly. There's other great books that King's doing. I'm just looking at this as somebody writing Batman. Let's see, it's not even King. I do not get it in comparison to all the other books I'm getting from DC, and of course I'm getting a ton. Some of them are very simpleton in their execution and whatnot, but they make more sense than the Batman does, as far as just how weird and dysfunctional it is for me. Like I said. Let's move on to something else. I don't want to spend a half an hour of listening to me regurgitate how frustrating the damn book is. So what else? What else are we reading? This is not a good week. This is not a good week for me DC-wise. So what do you got there, Brandon?
I think I would hear
Superman.
That's a good book, right?
I'll talk Superman. Yes. What do you think, Brandon? You're mute or something. I can't hear you, Brandon. No. Luke, you're still getting Superman, right?
Yeah. I think it was good. It was short little story arc. It was good, and I think it had a lot of meaning. It goes into the thing I think that Tomasi and Gleason do so well, is that the father-son relationship on both sides of Superman and the Batman side. And it was a short story, and it was good, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. It was fun.
Try to see if we're gonna get Brandon back. Maybe. No, he's there. He's working on his sound. I think it's a fun issue. I like the two kids. They are clearly different from each other, and have that. And I think it's going to be an antagonistic kind of a relationship clearly going forward. It'll be interesting to see what Super Sons ends up being like when that comes out. I'll be picking it up because, like I said, I like both of these kids. For their own whatever reasons that they are. They both are different, but at the same time, they're both carrying this legacy thing, right? I mean, they're clearly going to walk in both their dad's shoes at some point. So, it was just fun. I mean, nothing complex. They get sent off basically on a mission to kind of redeem themselves after they wrecked Batman's lab. And they have to go on these missions. And they're supposed to learn to work together. I don't know why exactly the parents insist that happens, but they need to work together to then earn their capes back so they can go on with, being superheroes. But that was fun. Do we got you back, Brandon? Nope. Dang it. Hopefully we end up with Brennan back at some point. What other books do you want to talk about?
Can we talk a little GA? Green
Arrow.
Yeah.
Y'all reading Green Arrow?
At the end of this, I was pretty much liking it. I thought everything was going well, and then I realized as we got to the last couple pages and the ending, I kind of felt that we were getting the old Percy storylines, is what it felt like to me.
Yeah. Jen, what'd you think?
I thought it was okay. You know, there were parts of it I really enjoyed, and then parts of it that were kind of meh for me. I thought it was kind of silly that the assassin guy, he knew who Diggle was, and then we turn around later and they're like, "Oh, Black Canary." You know, I don't know. It felt weird. For him to know Diggle, you know, it wasn't such a big deal for him to know Dinah or whatever because of the band and everything. That made sense, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Why she might be there, but the whole Diggle thing was weird for me. I don't know. It threw me out of the book. And then, yeah, closer toward the end, it kind of lost its momentum. It was kind of fun there for a bit with her and, you know, Green Arrow working together and their banter. I like that.
Yeah. For me, that makes the book. The conversations between Green Arrow and Black Canary are right now for me is what makes the book as far as the you know, the conversations and the action that's going on and that sort of stuff. I like Ferreira's art, of course. I think that he's getting pushed. I think the art is simpler than some of his stuff in the past has been. You know, maybe some of that setting, but I do think that with this rapid rate that the book comes out every 2 weeks, I do think that is probably a challenge. He seems to meet the challenge, but I do think it's a little bit simpler. You know, but like I said, maybe it's the setting too, with where they're at and stuff. But yes, I agree with Mike. Is that whereas those first couple issues when the book first started, it was really nice because it kind of harkened a little more back to what Green Arrow what a lot of us feel like Green Arrow used to be. Now it's it's very Percy-like. It never really has the punch, right? It never really clearly delivers anywhere along the way, kind of a thing. So another book this week I'm not real happy with because of that. It really felt like, okay, we're settling into this kind of mediocrity that I'm not real excited about. Art's great, so that helps me stay on the book. I like the chitter chatter between him and Black Canary. So as long as those two things are in the book, I'm going to hang around because I do like Green Arrow. He kind of is one of my favorite superheroes. So I will ride along for that. But this isn't a book that I would be excited to tell somebody else, oh man, you should get this.
Yeah.
Whereas when it first started, I was like, yeah. You know, when the Rebirth first started, I was like, on point. This is cool.
I even felt that with the banter between Green Arrow and Canary, some of that more it was about the social situation they were in. Don't even yourself to people that are worse off. This one was kind of, you know, supposed to be a fun spy mission or whatever that, I don't know. It just felt a little lighter and was missing some of the things that we had enjoyed in the last, 10 issues.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Luke, what'd you think?
I'm not saying I hate the story. I'm just the selling part's the art.
Yeah.
So of course I'm a joy for that, but yeah, it's part of the story is kind of like, yeah.
Right? Does it kind of feel like the stuff we were reading right before the New 52 ended? Right? It's kind of the same sort of a.
I think this
color.
is the where I kind of got that vibe to it as far as the story.
Yeah. Brandon, you're back.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm using a different. I'm not using this mic. I'm using my webcam mic now.
Okay.
So maybe my snowball mic's dead. I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know.
So what did you think of Superman?
I thought it was awesome. Just the dynamic between Damian and John is just awesome to see it play out all the time. It's just, I don't know, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah. So when that Super Sons book comes out, is it something you're gonna look at getting?
I have to. Tomasi's writing it.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a hoot, just the two of them. I hope just going off and being themselves and whatever they get into, it should be a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Alrighty, what else want to talk about DC wise? What else you got, Jet?
I got Nightwing.
Okay, let's talk Nightwing. Issue number 9 with a different artist on the book.
Yeah, I really liked the art on this book, actually. I wasn't sure that I would, but the story really fit with the art, I guess. So I had a lot of fun with this book. All right.
Yeah, me personally, I wasn't a big fan of the art. Partially, I don't. Yeah, it was okay. I really liked the regular artist that's on the book. So for me, this really felt like a step down from.
I don't know if I would want it all the time. You know what I mean? But for the story, it seemed to fit well.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of the whole of the the Nightwing and Superman friendship anyway, because it's so much different than the Batman Superman friendship. So that part of it, I always kind of enjoy stories with them. I mean, I clearly this is a one and done kind of a story, and sometimes you only get so much out of a one and done kind of a story. The whole dream thing or whatever, I don't know. It just was. I wasn't too excited by that story in and of itself, but it was fine. I'm assuming we go back to a more regular story next issue. I think it's curious that looks like we're gonna take him back to Buddha Haven possibly. So that'll be
that seems to be where we're going. So.
Yeah, I mean, he spent a lot of years there in the Nightwing comic back in the day, so that's cool. He doesn't have to be in Gotham for me, so I'm just kind of curious to see what's next for him. Because enough stuff's ended now, what is next? Since the Raptor stuff is done, it's kind of a clean slate for him to kind of do whatever story they want to tell. So, what do the rest of you guys think? Luke?
Yeah, I'd be honest. Takara, I wasn't really a fan with the art when he did in Detective, so I was kind of about it. But it's I like these every once in a while. It's just the 1 or 2 issue, one and done story. Yeah. So I appreciate that. You hit on the thing. I like the interaction between Dick and Clark. It's good. Sometimes I think the reaction to certain things or just the way they kind of acted was kind of a little extreme, but be that as it is, I almost think it's just a segue to get them to the Bloodhaven point, right? Going back to Bloodhaven, why it's so important. So take it, okay, definitely not nearly as good as the other issues.
Right. But for me, it's definitely a book that I've enjoyed Nightwing enough. I'm really curious about what's next for him. I'm really, really curious about that. Because we kind of laid to rest the Raptor stuff and whatnot. So what's going to be the next? Where does he go to now? I'm excited for that. So happily, because there have been lots of times I've attempted to read Nightwing and hated myself for it. So yeah, cool. Mike, you want to talk some Suicide Squad Most Wanted?
I would like to talk about El Diablo. Killer Croc I could do without.
Yeah, that was kind of a crock, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, reading the Croc story, and then I see on the back here Suicide Squad. I would have rather had a Slipknot story, but
Well, what's the next one? Because we got
I
two more issues, so we'll have a backup story of somebody else. I don't know which member it's going to be, though.
I do not know. I don't.
Yeah.
But with El Diablo, even as Kura, I think was the lady that's in there. I really enjoy her now, and I'm almost tempted to say that I would like to see a story, 2 pages or 2 books of her, or a 6 arc or something like that. I'm really kind of digging on her character. So El Diablo, of course, was great in this duel. I'm just surprised how much I ended up enjoying this whole storyline with him.
Yeah. I mean, it's been really good. It's been really good as far. I mean, Batman in this is a little weird. The kind of lines that are there, a little preachy. It felt a little more like a Superman come down and deliver the lines than Batman kind of a thing. Basically saying, "Oh, hey, El Diablo. I mean, you seem to be doing good right now, so I'm going to let you go and kind of do your thing." Because everybody deserves a second chance. Which I'm not saying that Batman doesn't believe that, but just the way he delivered it, way too friendly. He should have been delivering it while he was standing on El Diablo's neck or something. I don't know. It seemed a little strange as far as, but I still enjoyed it. And you're right. The El Diablo story as a whole has been really good. That. How do you say her name?
I thought it was Azkara.
Yeah, I'm not.
He calls her Veronica also, but I think it's Azkara.
Like we talked about the last time we talked about this book, I really like that character. I read an ongoing of her if they could, give us some story with her.
Yeah.
She's ex-Gotham police, policeman. She went through some experiment stuff through, Checkmate and whatnot. She's got kind of an interesting background as far as that goes. Her powers are cool. Visually, she's a really stunning character.
Yes.
I mean, her version of the Spidey sense, those skulls spinning around her head and stuff, that it just looks damn cool. So yeah, I'm all for it. Let's get a book of her out there, doing whatever. I don't care what. But yeah, it's been really interesting. I mean, and I did kind of like the conversation about the whole, you're being used, telling Tensu that he's being used and him informing him that that's not really the case. Next issue we're going to have clearly some big, blow up between, it looks like, a group of right?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
This is some of Waller's B team or whatever, isn't it?
I think so, because I think it's a Hawk Girl in the back.
Yeah.
But the devil, looked like a Star Wars character. I'll be interested to see how that goes.
But him, he showed up before. We've seen him before, right at the very beginning. He was running he's running El Diablo's streets. Now the El Diablo's gone. So
that's right. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so I'm excited to see what's next. Curious to see who the backup stories are going to be about in the next couple issues. I don't know who it is, but yeah, the Killer Croc in this was ridiculous. Not good.
I flipped through the last 4 pages. I just got to it and done. So.
Yeah, I read it, but the whole time I read it, I'm like going, oh my gosh, this is hard to read.
Yeah. That was somebody told they had pages to fill.
Yeah, basically, for sure. Alrighty, what else do you want to talk about? Just out of curiosity, anybody else pick up Cave Carson's got a cybernetic eye?
I did.
So, issue number 2. What do you think, Jen?
I really like this book. It's a lot of fun. So I know I've seen people who didn't like the first issue or whatever, but
whatever is right.
Yeah, it's really good. I like the book, and I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean it's fun. It's got all this kind of kooky stuff. It taps into some of the some of the kind of goofier Silver Age comic type tropes and some of that sort of stuff. I mean, because Cave Carson is one of the Challengers of the Unknown. I mean, there have been modern incarnations of the Challengers of the Unknown, but they were around mostly during the Silver Age and very early Bronze Age of books. He drives this ridiculous, car that can burrow through the ground and stuff now. I mean, it just looks like something that was drug out of the 60s. Let's see if I can find a picture of it. But, yes, I mean, here it is. whipping along. It's got this, great grill. It just looks very 1950s kind of sci-fi, ridiculousness to it. They've pulled in the character Mad Dog into the book. He's somebody that Carson knows. And Mad Dog he's a crazy vigilante. He's busy beating up a bunch of child smugglers when Carson calls him up and says he needs some help. There's lots about this that we don't really know. And I don't think as a reader, we have to know all the details. Clearly there's, in the underground world, there's some other societies that are down there and, they're having problems and something that's going on. And he used to work, well, he kind of works, but doesn't now clearly, works for a corporation that is supposed to be good and virtuous, but they're really not. They're out. It's all about the bottom dollar. They're mining these rare minerals and taking everything from, the people that are down there and stuff. And a war is getting ready to start in the underground civilization, which they're not worried about the people down there. But if there's a war, it's going to be a lot harder to mine the minerals. So we find out that Cave Carson's daughter is the last living heir to this place, because we also find out that Cave Carson's wife was actually like the princess or queen or whatever, and she gave that up to go live a normal life. And we find out that that's the case. So they're going to steal Cave Carson's daughter, and use her to stop this war or control the war or whatever it seems like. So they're all on the run now, and it's just kind of crazy. The people that are after them, it seems like maybe there's more than one group of people that are after them. There's the corporate people, and then there's these guys who do this chanting and they're in this car crash. I love the panel work on that page. But they do some chanting and then swallow some pills, and they turn into a big giant gnarly monster at the end of it, which is just fun. And I know that some people aren't big fans of Michael Avon Oeming's art. I like it as far as its own kind of unique style. He's got his own kind of a vibe. The characters are caricatures and
his art on Mad Dog on that opposite page.
I'm sorry, what was that?
The art that you showed of Mad Dog on the opposite page of your panel.
Yeah,
that I thought was really nice.
Yeah. It's just, it's got a cool, like I said, it's got a cool vibe to it. He's got, Ivan's got a unique style. It's clearly his, and I enjoy it for that. His faces are, bigger eyes and mouths and stuff, but it works to tell a really good, really good story anyway. So, yeah. I think it's fun. I've enjoyed all of the Young Animal stuff. I've been getting a kick out of all of them. And at least the Doom Patrol, Cave Carson, and Shade the Changing Girl are all just a little on the bonker side. This one's a little more straightforward than the others are, but they all are all three of those anyway are definitely on the kind of nuttier side of comics, and I enjoy some nuttier comics. So. Alrighty. Brandon, do you have any other DC books that you want to talk about?
I only had Superman, no.
Okay. Luke, are you around?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. I just didn't see a picture, so I wanted to make sure. You want to talk some Trinity or some Justice League?
Yeah, Trinity. Trinity's good.
Talk some Trinity. Issue number 3. So I want to talk about the art first. So Francis Manapul's not doing the art on this issue. He's just writing it. Of course, the first 2 issues were super gorgeous because, of course, this is Francis Manapul. He has wonderful spreads, red spreads and whatnot. So this one we get Clay Mann on it. And the last work that I read of Clay Mann's was Poison Ivy. And if anybody remembers me talking about those on this show, I bitched and complained about every issue that he was on, that there'd be some weird panel in there that didn't make sense. How do you read it or whatever? And so just odd shots. Well, in this one, doesn't he kind of mimic the way Francis Manapul does his work? So you get the same kind of...
That's exactly what I thought. Obviously different ink style.
Well, and that's part of it though. Clay Mann has somebody else inking his work, and I think that helped him. For me anyway, I think it made a stronger, better art is having this let me see if I can find the name. It's the end. Seth Mann, which I don't know if that's a relative or not, does the inking, and I think it makes for a really like this page is super cool. So in this page, they're in they're in like a different dimension, or they seem to be in a different dimension, and it's a different dimension that has a young Bruce Wayne in it. His family has just been killed or whatever. He's getting ready to take pills that are basically going to kind of sterilize his brain so he won't remember all this horrible stuff that's happened to him. He ends up falling out of a window, and they come swinging down to save him. So here's the actual is happening. It's Batman. This is what Bruce Wayne is seeing, the young Bruce Wayne. He's seeing this demon snatching him up. Here's this other demon snatching him up, and it's actually Superman. But man, I thought it was really cool anyway. Visually, this book I was impressed. There was nothing about the art in this that bugged me. I thought all of it looked really, really good. What'd you think, Luke?
I don't know. Is he on here permanently now?
No, I don't think so. I think he's just the other artist on the book.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. I guess I don't. That's a good question.
Did he sign an exclusive?
He signed an exclusive, but not necessarily to this. Brandon was off air. We were talking about this, and Brandon said that he thought that he'd been doing some Action Comics work.
Oh, yeah. But it's actually, yeah. I mean, it's tough to beat Man of Holes art, but I thought he did good. I like the story.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Granted, it's a Batman-centric one, so I'm probably gonna like it more than most. But they kind of really delved into that death of his parents thing, and I think that's you don't see too many of the stories that, at least not in depth. And this is only one issue. Kind of like the mental effect it had as him as a child. You don't see it too much. You kind of get flashbacks of it, and it's more kind of like the mental psyche of Bruce as an adult, where it kind of always goes back to that traumatic experience. But
right, and I guess part of what was interesting is that Batman is with it enough to know that he's not going to go and try and stop the killing from happening. You can't change the timeline. That's kind of his theory. He didn't want to do that. He just kind of wanted to see his parents alive one more time, and they get there late. They get there after it happens because, of course, this Gotham isn't his Gotham, and he's a little confused as to what's going on. So issue 5 of Trinity, it says that it's Francis Manapul doing the whole thing. For whatever that's worth. I mean, that doesn't mean that that's right necessarily, but the solicitations that I'm reading show that it's he's doing the whole thing. And the cover is definitely Francis Manapul, just looking at it. But so I would guess that he's still going to be doing some of the art on it. I hope so. But I'm enjoying the story. I like the way this is written. It was interesting.
Maybe it's good. You just kind of have Manapul do both for a little bit. You just can't keep up. It's too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
even as a monthly, it's way too much. And like I said, as far as if this guy's going to be the one that does the other, if it continues to look like this, I'm okay, because I thought it was pretty smartly done. I mean, it's not Francis Manapul, yes, but it's still smartly done, kind of thing. So, and I'm looking forward to the next issue, because the next issue, of course, it's going to be more Wonder Woman centric, I would guess. I love the ending of this issue too, because while this is going on in the real world, they're all wrapped up in plants, and Poison Ivy's in there doing something. She's just snatched up John, Superman's son, and Lois has been on the outside trying to get in, really frustrated and freaking out. She finds John's hat laying on the ground, and so she uses a truck and smashes through the barn with the truck, which I love, because I love how go-getter Lois Lane is. I think the Rebirth Lois Lane has been excellent in almost all the comics that I've read of her. Action Comics is a little shaky, but all the other books that have had Lois Lane in it, she has been what I think Lois Lane should be. She's a great mom. She's a go-getter. Something bad happens, she throws on the Batman suit, the Batman armor, and goes toe-to-toe if she needs to in the Superman comic, and in this, she's smashing the truck through the barn door to get to her son, because she's not having it. She's not letting anybody mess with her kids, and she's not the damsel in distress ever. And I appreciate that a lot too. Oh God. Yeah, that page there with the demon Zorro coming to get Bruce. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. I'm enjoying Trinity much more than I thought I was going to. It was one of those I figured, I'm going to get it for the art, but I'm betting I'm not going to probably really dig the story, and I think the story's been pretty decent. So. Oh, and just to backtrack a little bit, Suicide Squad Most Wanted. I think it's Amanda Waller for the next two. So that'll either be fun or that's going to be more grown. Yeah. Justice League. Luke.
Yeah.
Are you still reading it?
I am. And I keep telling myself it's not Jeff Johns. Give it a try. Give it a try. Give it.
No, this issue was weak.
Yeah.
I'll help you out. Yeah, I was like, okay, whatever. Whatever hacked Cyborg last issue has now hacked the Green Lantern ring, causes all kinds of crazy constructs. Oh no, about the constructs. It leveled Batman's place. Batman's trying to figure out the code. End of the issue.
In theory, that's just a normal guy who can just hack computers.
Well, the implication is that this guy that his wife died, he's the person that's done it. I don't know that he really is, though. That seems awful easy if he is the one that did it.
If that's the case, man, he just really depowered every member of the Justice League.
Yeah, it's kind of a joke, right? I can sit around on my laptop. I know a little bit of code, and I'm gonna just wreck them all. So yeah.
Because you just infiltrated the Batcave.
Yeah. And destroyed it.
Really, that's one of the things. It's like it's inherent. Yeah. Game, you got it. It is what it is. But it's like no. Yeah. So I'm whatever. I'm not ordering it going forward, at least until after the whole Suicide Squad stuff is done. I may be getting one or two more issues, I think, because of my pre-order, but I'm pretty sure I will have dropped it before that stuff starts in. So, and I liked the first arc. I liked the Hitch stuff. I liked that initial, the giant beings that were potentially taking over. I found all that kind of cinematic and interesting. It's lost all that cinematography and whatnot. So, and it seems like it's been a long time since Tony Daniels did an issue too. And I thought he was kind of the main guy doing the book and he would take breaks for an arc and somebody else. But this has gone on for, well, it seems like a full arc now without him. So I don't know.
I remember with the Rebirth launch, that was the big thing is how are they going to keep doing 2 weeks or, I guess we're seeing now how all this goes.
Yeah. Some of the books are starting to really water down. It feels to me like. The books I'm more excited about are the monthly books. They feel less watered down, and that's kind of what it feels to me like. It feels like, okay, I can take 40 pages to draw something out and kind of water down whatever concept I want instead of in a month, instead of trying to take 20 pages and squeeze it down to just the important things that need to be told. So I don't know. I don't know if that's really the issue, but part of me wonders if that's part of what it is for sure. All righty. Any other DC books? Anybody? No? I have Raven. I'm still enjoying it. It's still kind of fun. Not a whole lot happens in this issue. She's still fighting this giant thing that's sucking up souls. She kind of breaks in and out of it a couple times. It messes with her mentally a little bit, but yeah, issue 3 is kind of, we're right at the apex, I think, of whatever the big thing's going to happen. It seems to me like that there's a group of supervillains who are using this thing that they don't even know what it is and using it as an opportunity to say, this is a thing we've set off, and if you don't pay us, X amount of money, we're going to let it loose on the rest of the world. When I don't think they control it at all. I think they're just being opportunist, kind of a thing. So we'll see how that plays into the rest of the story. But it's still been enjoyable. Like I said, happy that Marv Wolfman knows how to write a contemporary story instead of just being stuck in the, 70s and 80s. So, yeah, it's fun. And clearly other people like it too, because they just reprinted issue number 1 again. So somebody's buying it. Doesn't mean it's good, but I enjoyed it. But at any rate, okay, no other DC books, DC news, anything particular coming up that's...
I think Philip Tan's taking over for art duties on Hellblazer.
Yes, I saw that coming up in the next arc or whatever, right?
So
yeah,
you could buy more Mortat.
Yeah, which doesn't hurt my feelings. I like some aspects of Mortat's art. The women always frustrate me because they all look 100% alike. So, yeah, and he's going on he's going someplace else, right? I thought I saw part of that storyline. I thought part of that storyline was showing him that he's traveling to someplace else. Which he just finally got back to London. They're already sending him off someplace else. So I don't know.
Well, I don't read that book. I'm just relaying messages.
Yeah. But that'll be interesting. I'm curious to see Philip Tanzel's people that can either be really good or he can be not good. I don't know. It's like I've seen him do some amazing artwork, and then I've seen him do some sequential art that's rough at best. So I don't know. I'll get it for a while anyway. I'm a John Constantine fan, so what am I gonna say? Any other newsy type things? I can't think of any other. Yeah, I can't think of anything else that's leaping out that. Oh yeah, I need to talk about. So, want to move on to Marvel? Talk some Marvel books. Alrighty, Mike, what you got?
Infamous Iron Man. As we can see, the thing here getting ready to load a beat down. I really enjoy this book because right now it's the focus of Victor Von Doom trying to pick up the mantle of Iron Man, and it is tough. I did not read the stories before this, and so it seems that there's a lot of extra stuff I could get out of it if I had. But this is kind of good. He wants to be the hero. In this one, he confronts the Mad Thinker and starts beating up the machines that Mad thinks. These two kids are watching, and one robot starts coming out, and it's just damage, but it's going to kill these two kids. And Victor shows back up. He destroys them and says, "That's right, save everybody." It's kind of like an afterthought. Like, I just came here to defeat the bad guy. I almost forgot to to save these two kids. So it's been interesting to watch that. His development, trying to be a hero. He's got this one young lady that he likes, and he lets all of his guards down, and he shows up behind her. Well, scares her. She pulls out a gun and shoots him, and she's like, "I didn't think anybody could hurt you." And he goes, "Well, I let my defenses down, and I'll never do that again with you." So it's interesting to see all this development that you have with Victor trying to be a good guy. And so that's what I like about it. It is a flawed, horrible person. It's like somebody who's racist that, you've instructed them, this is how other people feel. They finally get it through their head, but they still have too many gut instinct things that they do that show that they're just kind of a rotten person. So that's what I've enjoyed about the character so far. And as you see with the thing, he goes to the embassy to beat up Victor Von Doom. The Latvians tell him, he's not here, and he basically destroys a lot of artifacts, and then he figures out where Victor is. So hopefully next issue will be a confrontation.
So question for, I guess, Mike and Jen, since Jen read Invincible Iron Man, because we talked about how, Civil War hasn't ended yet, so we don't really know what happened to Tony Stark. Did either of those two books ruin that?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. A month ago, I actually spoiled it with issue 1.
So they did say what happened. Okay, just wondering.
Yep. Yeah.
Huh. That's so crazy.
Yeah, well, I should say in a way they did. They show the result, but they don't actually talk around what happened. So I don't know what happened, but they do show how Victor gets this part. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't go into specifics as exactly how Civil War ends, but
so I almost think they worked around that, knowing the first issue. I'm sure there may have been some things that had to be changed.
Yeah, I bet.
So I liked it. I really like this book. So I'm going to stick on it.
Cool. Well, what else? What else we want to talk Marvel-wise?
Doc Strange.
Okay.
Since I know you pick it up.
Yep, and I actually got this issue as opposed to missing last issue. So
Oh yes, yeah.
So yeah, reading this issue, clearly I know I missed a chunk of something, because suddenly we're in a bar in a version of hell, right?
Yeah.
Oh, a diner, not a bar, a diner.
Yeah, diner, yeah.
So we're back to food again, which of course,
Yes.
the series started out with food. He's having to eat all this, god awful stuff and whatnot. Love this cover. Love the art in it. The art makes this story so super imaginative. I mean, so he's basically being held captive, right? Because he's going to be, he's like the star attraction. What's her name is running a version of hell, and she wants everybody to come to her version of hell. And her star attraction is going to be that the spokesperson, the main ring master is going to be Dr. Strange. Yeah. So she forces him to eat a vile piece of bacon, this demonic bacon that actually somebody else had already eaten, and she actually rips it out of their gut and still makes sure they pays for it because you got to buy it to eat it, but that doesn't mean you get to keep it. And she forces him to eat it and swallow it, and then it's basically him getting super sick, and then he kind of astrally projects, makes himself really tiny, and then flies down his own guts to get this piece of bacon out of himself. It's just crazy and fun. I mean, the line cook chef at the diner, he's got two demons on each hand that are actually doing the cooking, and the guy himself is supposed to shut up and just be the legs, and there's all kinds of silliness goes on. But visually, it is so awesome as he crawls down his own gut and fights demon bacon and makes himself puke it back up, and
using his astral form to take care of us. And the demons, of course, can see his astral form and beat him up in his astral form.
Right.
But the only thing I would say is the problem is this is beautiful storytelling to enhance who Doctor Strange is, but doesn't really, I feel, progress the storyline. It kind of was filler because he's got to get back and fight Baron Mordo.
Right. It really was just kind of an off issue of zaniness. But come on, look at that eye candy. As he's riding the demonic piece of bacon up and out of his intestines. Of course, they edit it. They put black boxes over his manly bits and rear end, whatever. But
and that is the thing, you have to the artwork for it to sell because it is beautiful artwork.
Yeah. But you're right, Mike. It doesn't. I mean, unless this comes back in similar sense, and it doesn't feel like it's going to because, at the end of it, once he's escaped, she just kind of shrugs her shoulder and goes, "Oh well, we better go get Jim Morrison and tell him he has to do another show," and that's it. So it's not like she feels horribly offended that he abandoned her and she's going to go hunt him down. It really kind of, and you'd think that this would have been an issue that would have had a guest artist on it, right? Because it's like, oh my gosh, we got to put a fill-in issue so our artist can catch up. No, this is done by the regular guy. This is part of the regular story. But unless this somehow comes back to haunt him further,
because
like bad food does, And
I like Santana as a character too, the daughter of Satan. I think she's sister of Damon Hellstrom. But and it's just once again it's digging into his ethos because I'm pretty sure the chef with the demon hands is a former character in an old book. So
see, there he is cooking. There's his demon hands that are arguing over what the plate is and stuff. I mean, it was, like I said, it's a fun issue, but you're totally right, Mike, in the fact that it in itself does not progress anything farther as far as the story, other than to remind us, oh yeah, by the way, he's got to go back and still go after this guy and stuff. So
he still has to go after that being he created too, doesn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
The evil from the basement. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, gorgeous artwork and stuff like that, though, for sure. Alrighty, what else we got? Because that's it. I only had the one book. I only had the one Marvel. This is not my Marvel week, I guess. So.
Or does anyone else Marvel?
I got Wolverine, number 14.
Well,
which is Enemy of the State 2 Part 2. So basically X-23, or I keep calling her X-23, but Laura's main villain, her name is Kasumi. She's basically like what Logan's equivalent is Sabretooth, you know what I mean? That's like her arch nemesis. She lives in this apartment, or Laura lives in this apartment, and she gets a package in the mail in the last issue that had a vial of trigger scent. And what this trigger scent does is once it comes in contact with Laura, she'll go into a feral berserker rage just against her will. She'll have no control over it, and she'll pretty much kill everything in her path until it wears off. And I thought that was cool because since the very beginning of this whole book, and the reason why I like legacy characters and people taking on mantles that others had, Laura has basically thrown down and said she's not going to kill people as Wolverine. She's going to do things differently than Logan. So her and the little clone that she's taking care of named Gabby, they both go to this like little village area that had like 30 or so people in it. And there was like a log cabin there that was owned by Logan at one point. So they were staying there. Because they figured, well, if Kasumi knows where she lives, well, we'll go move. Well, I guess someone's been watching them because as they're talking about that outside the village, these 3 water bombers go over the village, but they're not dropping water, they're dropping trigger scent.
Oh.
So we are assuming then, we don't actually see, so this issue picks up where she's just on the ground and the trigger scent's worn off and S.H.I.E.L.D. is there. So we don't actually see her killing them all, but we assume that's what happened. So S.H.I.E.L.D.'s obviously taking her for questioning and stuff. So I guess my little problem with it is I felt like they should have played up the whole she took a vow not to kill people as Wolverine, and she assumably killed 30 people, even though it wasn't like her doing, it was against her will. She still did it. I thought that would have they would have played that factor a little bit more in this issue than they did. We also got this new artist on here. I think she's done, or he or she has done the last 2 issues. And I feel like the art's taken a little bit of a dip, not too bad, but a little bit. But basically, S.H.I.E.L.D. tries to track down the water bombers, and they can't because the water bombers go into like this helicarrier thing, and they go to Madripoor, which is a sovereign state that S.H.I.E.L.D. has no control over. So this issue is basically like, well, okay, we're just going to go to Madripoor ourselves and find out what's going on. That's pretty much what it was. But the other thing I like about this book is, and it has done since the very beginning, is it blends in serious tones with fun elements at the same time. So like there's the way they go to Madripoor, Laura meets up with this like a captain of a ship, and I guess they met at one time in the past, and in the past when she was X-23, she took her eye, the captain's eye.
Oh.
So they have this whole conversation. Let's see where it is here. So Gabby starts questions X-23 and goes, you took her eye? And she goes, yeah. And she goes, well, this is awkward. And the captain's like, Laura was once sent to kill me. And then Gabby's like, you're still willing to help us? That's big of you. And the captain's like, that's one way to look at it, but I see things a little differently. And then Gabby goes, of course you see things a little differently. You don't have depth perception. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a book about Wolverine, Laura killing like a whole town of people, yet they also throw in these jokes too.
Right.
Like it's just a blend of the seriousness and just fun. And it's done so since the very beginning. So yeah. I still really enjoy this book a lot.
And what issue is that?
14.
And it still has Tom
Taylor.
Tom Taylor on it?
Yeah.
Cool.
And I really enjoyed that book a lot.
Wow.
So the next issue, they're going to take the fight to Kasumi, supposedly in Madripoor. But this Gabby, the clone, she was one of 3 clones that came out of the first story arc. One of them died. one of them's with X-23, and one of them was taken by Kasumi. So the other clone's with her too.
Right.
And they don't know that. So, yeah.
Cool.
It's really been a good book.
I think I was scared at one time when I was hearing people talk about Squirrel Girl, where I think I was afraid that it was too hearted, too silly, but it sounds like it's been a good balance.
Well, that one especially was more silly than seriousness, the one with Squirrel Girl. But yeah, normally it's a more healthy blend.
All right.
Although the Squirrel Girl issue I thought was really funny too.
Cool.
And the other one I got was Jessica Jones, but I haven't got a chance to read it yet, unfortunately. So I'm out.
Mike, what else you got?
Old Man Logan, then, to end this one out. This is issue 13. This is part 5 of the last Ronin series. And this is him facing a group of monks that he encountered in his universe when he was married. He is trying to battle the young monk who is a psychic, has immense power. He's trying to figure out what to do. He's got the kid held captive, and he's got the claws, and he's like, I'll kill the kid. And they're like, no, you don't kill children. Strikes with him, and she's like, I will kill a child. So the kid freaks out, reads his mind, figures out that Wolverine really believes everybody can choose their own path. And so he tells the kid it doesn't have to go down the way it did in my world. And I think at that point it starts to dawn on Wolverine again. He can change what's going on. This is not his world. He doesn't have to face this horrible apocalypse. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes after this one.
Cool. So, how much longer is Sorrentino on that book?
I think it's still a whole nother arc after this.
Okay, because I mean, I kind of saw it talking, and I was just kind of surprised he even made it sound like that there might be an end to what he was doing. So,
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and I want to say, I think he said, a couple more issues, so 3 more issues and somebody else does fillers, or he does the whole arc. So
cool.
Yeah, I think they're just really enjoying it. I mean, it's Lemire and Sorrentino and Malio, so I just presume they're all just having a blast on it. So.
Sure. Always looks cool when I look at the art on it. So, but it was one of those books like Brandon with Black Hammer. I didn't want to get on it because Lemire has not been doing it for me as far as superhero books go. So, yeah. On my Christmas list.
All right. That's
okay. Any other Marvel books want to talk about? No. Marvel news then. The only news that I've heard is that America Chavez, she's getting her own book. Ms. America's getting her own book. We kind of knew about that before. They had mentioned it, but they didn't have a release date. They didn't have any creators on it. So I just kind of went, whatever, until something, solid is talked about the book. I wasn't going to really believe it. I mean, it's just like the Blade book they talked about doing that is never going to see the light of day, kind of a thing. So, but they announced a writer, they've said she's clearly queer. It has a queer Latino writer, writing the book. I believe a Latino artist on the book also. So as far as the whole, if they're going to be socially correct, it sounds like they're hitting all the right marks as far as who they've hired as talent to be on a book representing somebody that is those kinds of things. I mean, she's alien. Technically, right? I mean, Ms. America is. She's not technically.
I don't think she's technically from the universe, is she? She's just like from an alternate universe.
Right. But still, it seems to be of Latin descent. So clearly hits all those things. I'm super excited about it. It's a book I'm definitely going to be picking up. I love that character. She is definitely one of my favorite DC, not DC, Marvel characters, especially of the newer type of characters that are out there. I'm mostly enamored with what the work that Karen Gillian and Gina McKelvey did, on their run of Young Avengers. But I'm excited to see what else is going on. I liked the little bit that she was in the Ultimates. It's just while I was reading the Ultimates, they didn't use her enough, and that's really why I was getting the book in the first place. So her getting her own book is gonna be awesome. Having a clue what it's about, as far as what the character's gonna do, I really don't care. I'm on board initially just because I'm excited for the character, and we'll see what happens. So here soonish, I should be picking up an extra, like 3 at least, Marvel book, new Marvel books picking up, because I'm going to pick up the Hulk when it comes out with Jennifer Walters being in the Hulk. I plan on picking up the Kate Bishop Hawkeye. So, yeah.
On the Thor, they lose their artist on issue 3, I think, or after issue 3. No explanation why.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Which?
Unworthy Thor?
Oh,
the
I just
new
typed-
miniseries?
I picked up one this week. I didn't even know. Okay.
All right. Yeah, no, and I picked it up too. I enjoy it, but I don't remember something popped up about why they're losing them.
Yeah, but that's a limited series, right?
Yeah, 25 issues.
So a little more than halfway through, I think it's going to change artists. That's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
You would hope that you could get the same person on it for when it's something short like that. You get the one, so it'd have one unified look all the way through it, I guess is. Any other?
Wasn't there some news about like an Inhumans TV series?
Yes, Inhuman TV series, right? Where is that
Yeah.
going to be? Where's that going to be at? I can't remember.
That's what I'm trying to look up.
Yeah, I remember.
I know
Go ahead, Mike.
Cloak and Dagger lost their showrunner, and they're trying to get a new one for that Freeform channel or Freedom channel.
Yeah. And I've seen advertisements for I Am Legion, right? Isn't that what it's
Yes.
called?
Yeah, I saw one the other day.
On FX. I'm curious about that. I'm curious to see what that's going to be like.
I think it's February for that one.
Yeah, I mean, just being on FX, it's kind of off on its own little odd channel. So and FX kind of does its own thing. So I'm curious to see what they deliver as far as what it's like. How close is it to comic books? Is it just taking the characters and the ideas of the characters and doing something completely different with them? I have no idea. I haven't really looked up anything on it, but I'll be curious to take a look at that also. Yeah, I remember there's being something about the Inhumans that confirming there's going to be a TV show, but
I can't find it. So
I don't remember exactly what that was now. So
I saw something about that too. There's going to be like a movie theater event, maybe thing that's going to lead into the TV show. Really read the whole article on it.
Right, because then initially the Inhumans was going to be another movie, right? That was going to be was part of their whole movie release thing. And so has that changed? We're not going to have movies. We're going to have a TV show instead? Huh.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
either.
so I need to read about it because it didn't sound like a full-fledged movie. Maybe some sort of like event thing that they were going to do in theaters. I don't know. I mean, not like Avengers or whatever.
Marvel's Inhumans is becoming a TV show that will debut in IMAX.
Right, that's what I saw.
Oh, and S.H.I.E.L.D. is still on TV.
Oh, yeah, S.H.I.E.L.D. The newly minted Inhuman series is scheduled to air on CBS in 2017 and will focus on the core characters from the Inhuman comic books. The royal family, group of characters includes Black Bolt, Medusa, Karnak, and Lockjaw. Yeah, Marvel announced an Inhumans movie back in October 2014 as a smaller footnote to unveil a bigger films like the Captain America stuff and blah, blah, blah. But it's been removed from the Marvel's movie schedule. So.
Interesting.
But they've been kind of floating Inhuman stuff around in the Marvel, I mean not Marvel, but in the S.H.I.E.L.D. show all along, haven't they, Mike?
Mhm.
Yes, yeah, they have. Yeah, it was a nice big deal. That they did it well, so I've
So
been
how
really
is
happy.
S.H.I.E.L.D.? I mean, I watched the first episode with the Ghost Rider thing, and I was like, oh, no. Did it get better?
I liked it. I liked
Oh.
with Reyes. Yeah.
I'll stick to the Netflix Marvel shows. I think. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I say that, but when a human TV show comes out, I will check it out because I want to see what do they do with Medusa's hair? How does that work? How do they run? You know, what actor are they gonna get to play Black Bolt? Who's gonna have to emote all kinds of stuff and not say a damn word? You know, but still come across as like incredibly powerful and strong and all that kind of stuff. I'm curious to see
Lockjaw should be interesting too.
how do they make Lockjaw? You know, how do they make that big giant dog with a tuning fork on its head? I mean, how do they do that stuff? So I'll be watching that just out of a curiosity around that aspect of it and nothing else. Plus the fact I really like the core Inhumans and what they are. And my problem all along with the S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show and S.H.I.E.L.D. is I don't give a crap about S.H.I.E.L.D. I just do not care about them as the entity that they are. Has never interested me in the Marvel Universe. The closest S.H.I.E.L.D. has ever come to interesting me is the Serenko art back in the day. And that's the art, not the story. So
Yeah.
I just am not a S.H.I.E.L.D. fan.
I think it'd be pretty funny if they took like a really, really tiny like Shih Tzu, put like a little plastic tuning fork on him, and then just blew it up.
Blew him up to really big.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, and it'll be interesting. S.H.I.E.L.D. is the idea that, they were humans that were experimented on by aliens, basically in the storyline, but they have not indicated any part of the royalty or any of that. So, I mean, they can still use it because it's only one group. So,
Right.
I think I also read somewhere that this Inhumans TV series is going to have nothing to do with S.H.I.E.L.D.
all right.
Okay.
Just be outside the universe. All right.
Yeah. Well, or it's that hidden kingdom thing that nobody knows about except for the Fantastic Four. So
yeah, which would be beautiful. I like to see it that way.
Yeah. Cool. Alrighty. Any other newsy type things? No. Anything else?
Think of anything.
Anything else we feel like we want to talk about? No.
Well,
I only got 5 books next week. It's gonna be pretty nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what's coming out.
There's a new Hellboy, I think, that comes out next week.
Right. I think it's a one-shot story.
All right.
I think.
I thought it was another 2-parter, but
Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it is. I was thinking it was one. Let's see. So next week that the AD Life After book comes out. I know that comes out.
Yeah, After Death. I'm gonna give that a shot.
Yeah.
what is that?
It is a book written by Scott Snyder, art by Jeff Lemire. I'm assuming the two of them tell the story together. It's just, yeah. I mean, I don't know the specifics, truth about the plot behind it. It got announced last year, I believe.
Is it Image?
Yes,
Yeah.
It is an Image book, and there's 3. It's one of 3. So they're and like Brandon was saying earlier, it's like
They're like oversized, and I'm
$6
assuming they're gonna
book.
be square bound, but I don't know.
Yeah. So Black Monday Murders comes out next week. As far as the books, I'm saying, finally get another issue of the Goddamned. I don't know if anybody else is reading the Goddamned besides me.
Oh, yeah, forgot about that book.
I love that book. That book is awesome. And you're right, Mike. It is Hellboy, the BPRD 1954, Unreasoning Beast, and it is one of 2.
Well, the good thing is they didn't jump another year.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to do that quite so much now. They've kind of landed. They hinted a lot of stuff happening in the 50s, between 1950 and, and throughout the 50s, a lot of stuff happens to Hellboy. He goes on a lot of solo adventures. So I'm assuming that we're going to get more stuff in the 50s just because of that. Another issue of Six Pack and Dog Welder comes out.
I didn't pick it up. I almost did.
It's funny.
I probably should have. I may get it in trade.
It's funny. It's funnier than the last one that was out. And Wonder Woman comes out. It's another Wonder Woman week.
Yep.
I think I only got like 15 books coming out next week.
It's a light week for all of us.
Clearly something's wrong if I'm only getting 15 books.
Well, it is a 5 Wednesday month too, so maybe
Right.
that's why. But
Right.
Is the holiday going to affect your show any?
I was going to ask that too.
I do not think so, because despite Thursday being a holiday here in the States, secretly the post office is still moving mail. So I would assume I will still get my package on Friday. Even if I don't get it until Saturday, it's only 15 bucks. I mean, you know, I've been reading.
Guys, I'm gonna have to go. My dog's kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for coming on, Jen. Have a great one. So I think, I mean, as long as there's enough people around to actually do a show, probably we'll do the show. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure I can get 5 books read.
Yeah, because
I think I can do that.
Yeah, because that Saturday I don't have anything going on, so it's gonna be good. Going into next month, December, the end of December is gonna be not gonna happen.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't think, just because of, well, yeah, because of the way the holidays land, Saturdays are Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. I don't think that we're doing shows. I'm sure I'm not doing a show Christmas Eve. New Year's Eve, I might do a show like I did last year, where it's just going to be, if I do one, it's just going to be a free-for-all. You know, and I don't care about what books we've read. Just come on and, you know, BS the year's worth of comics. And hopefully we can get some people on who, you know, are always in the comments and commenting and stuff like that, but don't come on the show because they get their books later than the rest of us do. So maybe we can get them on to talk just comics in general. So, and make it kind of a fun show as far as that goes. Last year, that was my most watched video. You know, I came on by myself because no one else was around, and I got over 1,000 views on the video, and I don't understand why. So, at any rate,
drums were clicking.
I guess it must have been. I mean, maybe it's because I titled it "Nude Sexy Girls." I don't know. Maybe that's why, but I don't know.
Hashtag unit.
Yeah, no, that isn't why. But yeah. So anyway, so I expect to be around. I will certainly, if that's not going to happen, I will let you people who are on the show with me know, and I'll let the audience know if that's not what's going to happen. But you can check out. I'll have a haul video of some sort around there, I think, and if it's not going to work, I'll know by then. So, yeah. Thanks a lot, guys, for coming on. Appreciate it. Good to see you, Brandon.
Thank you.
Come back all the time, anytime. Always like talking books with you. And we're going to call it a night. So have a great one, everybody. Thank you all for watching and whatnot. And anybody who watches later, appreciate that too. So have a great night, everybody. And we'll see you next week.